by Sumner One.
Guess what day it is? Hump Day!
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the opening drive on 101 ESPN in St. Louis. We're at 7 o'clock. Your time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Danny Mack, Matthew Rocchio, Jackson Burkett walking past the studio. I waved at him. Brooke saying, what are you waving at? What are you waving at?
Well, at first I thought maybe you were waving to our lovely people who are watching on YouTube.
Oh, hi,
But
YouTube
then
people.
you were doing it towards the door, and I was like, wait, there's somebody behind us.
Jackson
right
Burkett was walking by. The Air Alliance Team Studio Cam is up and running. All you need to do is go to youtube.com and then search 101 ESPN STL. How are we doing, kids, this morning? I got to bed early. I was glad that the Cardinals came away with a W, but I was really tired, so I went to sleep when but I'm glad that they came away. I looked at the interwebs this morning.
John King happened.
Yeah. Well, a lot of other things happened, too. At what point did you tune out, Randy, when they had a 2-0 lead?
Yeah, well, no, Goldie hits the home run. We're up 5-4. With this bullpen? Oh, come on.
With this bullpen. Yeah, a lot of things happened after that. They also loaded the bases twice in this game, and they weren't able to score. So the Cardinals, once again, were not able to capitalize with runners in scoring position. And I think that's honestly the biggest story of that game and the season last night. 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, and it's been something that we've been talking about over and over again. They actually out-hit the Padres. They did that back-to-back nights, but it was the Padres that came up with the big hit.
7 behind now in the wild card race after the 7-5 loss last night.
3 games out of last place. That's the other way to look at it. 7 games out of the wild card, trying to avoid missing the playoffs for the 5th time in the past 9 years. Not pretty. Not pretty at all. By the way, good morning to both of you.
Daniel.
Yeah, good morning. How are we?
I got woke up by thunder. Did you guys get woken up by thunder last night? We had a big thunder boomer here in Creve Coeur.
How much did it rain? I just saw it was rain on the ground, and I didn't realize it was supposed to rain.
I had no idea either.
I didn't either.
Second alert weather, we were really behind on that one. I don't even know if we could call it a second alert at this point because we didn't even know.
I'm wearing wearing a jacket today, wearing pants because I figured if it rains, it gets cold in our studio bulletin, and so I just decided to go warm today, just in case. And it's going to be hot. Second alert weather, I think it's going to get up to 94 today, a little cooler than yesterday. Anybody got their second alert weather Doppler radar with them? I'll check mine.
Dan has the best weather app of us all.
The best.
It's just an app more so about when rain is in the area.
Okay.
It never messes up. Billy Finley uses it down at the ballpark.
That's good.
It's pretty solid. That's the good one for the Rain Aware app, but I don't have a good one which tells me the temperature. I played golf yesterday. Woo, that was stifling. There was no one on the golf course.
It was stupid hot yesterday.
It was 100
Stifling.
degrees. How did you do that?
I just did it. I love golf that much, I guess.
I played the day before. I would not have played yesterday, and there's very few days that I would not played in.
It was 110 heat index.
Yeah. Did you hydrate? Were you drinking a lot of water?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. A lot of iced tea, a lot of water.
Okay, I have a question. Are John Mozeliak's hands cold and dead? Because he said that you could get a few years ago. Now things change, but it'd take somebody to get Dylan Carlson from the Cardinals out of his cold, dead hands. Well, the Rays do. I don't know if the hands are cold or dead. But then the Cardinals DFA Armstrong yesterday, the guy they got for Dylan Carlson. This was a really bad look. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't have traded Dylan Carlson. They had to get rid of Dylan Carlson or send him down. It seems like that's working for a few guys. But this is a horrible look. I mean, at least you still have Matthew Liberatore on your roster, right? This is a horrible look for the organization to trade Dylan Carlson, who was a prized possession and 3 years ago was third in the Rookie of the Year voting, and you have nothing to show for a 25-year-old that you traded a month ago? That's unbelievable.
And we've talked about the difference of what he looks like now. And he's been able to really come through for him. He had that walk-off winner we talked about not too long ago, and you could tell that he looks different in that situation. And it's not just a one-off, I think is the issue here, is that if it was just one time that we saw this, then you'd say, okay, well, that happens. You know, player needs to change the scenery. But when you've seen this happen over and over and over again, that should be sounding the alarm for everybody in this situation in the organization.
I kind of looked at it two different ways. One, you're right, Randy, it's a tough look. I mean, Look, the guy was a former first-round pick. He was somebody that was batting cleanup in the 2020 playoffs, I believe, in the final game of their season against San Diego. And then all of a sudden gets traded for a guy that's no longer here, a middle journeyman reliever that doesn't wind up being anything for your club. The other part I would say about this is that it probably gives you an idea of the marketplace for Dylan Carlson at that time. He was available to the rest of the league, and this is the best you could get for him. So I think it is an indictment on him and what the league thought of him, but I also think it just does not look good. A former first-round pick, and you get a journeyman middle reliever, and he's no longer with your club after a month. That's it's a tough look.
And since going to Tampa, Carlson has picked it up. He's got a 744 OPS, 3 homers, 9 RBIs, a couple of stolen bases for the Rays. And this DFA of Armstrong, by the way, on the heels of the Cardinals DFAing Nick Robertson last month, and Tyler O'Neill has an 864 OPS for Boston. You had to get rid of him, too. You didn't have room for him. But you didn't get much for these guys that other teams are seeing talent in and turning into players. And I would say, and this is nothing new, and this is unfortunate, but the Cardinal organization right now is a mess. The combination of their personnel evaluation, who they're trading, who they're getting when they make trades, the end result, the style of play that is leading to the small crowds. Right now, this is the worst Cardinal organization of my lifetime.
And then you look at Nolan Gorman, demoted, Jordan Walker, demoted, and you see the young outfielder and Dylan Carlson, as we just talked about, being able to flourish elsewhere. It's continuing to be a trend, and it's an alarming trend that you hope that something changes. This is very hard right now, but it should lead to very hard changes during the offseason, to your point, Randy, because look at the attendance. The fans are showing, hey, we are not okay with this whatsoever. Once again, the Padres commenting on the attendance last night. It's really just embarrassing to see that, but how can you blame the fans in this situation when you see this, when you see the product on the field? But we talked about it earlier, just in that game last night, the struggles with situational hitting. It's not something just isolated to this season. It's something that we've started to see, and there's no threat right now in this lineup with this team.
And people say, Randy, you were around during the 70s. You always tell us about how bad things were during the 70s. At least when I was going to the games in the 70s, I was watching Ted Simmons, I was watching Keith Hernandez, I was watching Lou Brock, I was watching Bob Forsch, I was watching John Denny. And the teams were generally around 500, but in the hunt.
Robo.
Yeah.
Rabowski.
Yeah, right.
He was entertaining.
He was very entertaining. Ryan Helsley is a fun guy to watch. Mason Wynn is must-see TV or worth the price of admission. But this team just... Some teams know how to win. The Cardinals in the past have been really good at winning. This team, while having talent, and Matthew was talking about this earlier before we came on the air, it has talent, but the talent doesn't seem to be realized, and they don't have a real solid idea, and it's an organizational thing. It's not a manager. It's not the players. It's everything. They just don't have a real good idea as to how to win. I don't know how they lost that, but they have.
I was thinking with the Carlson thing, do you just send him back down and give him one more chance? Like, just say you're going to play every day, and instead of just, getting Armstrong and cutting bait, and I was under the belief that he needed to go. He needed a change of scenery just for his career, for him, probably from the organization standpoint. But if you're going to get nothing back for him, it may have been beneficial just to send him down to the minor leagues and say, look, you're going to play every day. You wanted a chance to take a breather. We're going to give you the breather. We still believe in you. It's just not working right now. Let's give you a chance to reset one more time.
And you had guys go down there and succeed. If nothing else, maybe have him go down and rebuild his market value so you trade him during the offseason.
That's the other point.
You've got 3 years of control left of the guy. He's 25 years. He'll be 26 at the beginning of next season. But a switch-hitting outfielder who can play, who's shown he can play, he's got talent. Mo told us, he said we had to get rid of him. And I understand that part of it. But he's still a talented player. And I sat here all the time and I said, hey, if they trade him, he's going to be an all-star. Somebody else had to believe that. Somebody had to believe.
Mo's even joked about it before with players. Yeah, I mean, he's joked about that. And that's the part that's really sad is how many players can you say that it's a change of scenery thing to the point where you say, well, maybe there's something that we need to change in our scenery within the organization.
Exactly, Brooke, yeah.
There needs to be a complete evaluation of what's going on here. And this is not what we're accustomed to here in St. Louis. I can't put my finger on it. Is there too many analytics? Is it the players, which I do think that's a big part of it? They're just not talented enough at this point at the Major League roster, because if they were, you'd have a better team. I mean, Luke and Baker is hitting third for your team last night.
Yep.
In a pennant race.
Right.
Quote-unquote pennant race.
Yeah.
Luke and Baker should not be hitting third in a pennant race for the Cardinals or anybody else. He just shouldn't.
No.
I give him credit for what he's done in the minor leagues, but that's not a number 3 hitter at the Major League level. He's just not. And the Carlson thing is just befuddling to me. I thought he'd be a better player here in St. Louis. And to your point, Randy, I mean, do you send him down and say, look, I know you don't want to go down. We think you're Major League talent, but we need to build you back up. And whether or not it works here, just have an open conversation with him. Whether or not it works here or with somebody else, we're going to try to build you back up to get you the at-bats that you need, the playing time that you need to be a Major League talent. I never looked at him after watching him up close for the first couple of years and then seeing his decline. I thought it would never be more than a 4th outfielder, and I said that a lot the last couple of years here in St. Louis. But with somebody else, a lesser team, getting a chance to play, less pressurized, you may see the best of what this kid has, and they just weren't able to get the most out of it.
And I think it's about investing, because if you also back that up with the words of that you had, the cold dead hands quote that, of course, Mozeliak will never be able to escape because he's the one that said it, right? And he acknowledges that. Then you also have to back it up with your actions of what you're talking about, Danny, of really making sure, okay, we said this, we're going to continue to fully invest in you and make sure that we're doing the most that we can to help you reach your potential within your organization. Now, kind of looking at the difference between the Tyler O'Neill and Dylan Carlson situation, this is just my opinion, my perception on this of what I was able to observe. But with Tyler O'Neill, we all know there was that very kind of public issue. Everything was out in the forefront, right? With Dylan Carlson, he was very close with a lot of the guys in that clubhouse. Really close with Nolan Arenado, had a very close relationship with a lot of these guys. So it's a very different kind of change of scenery conversation. With Tyler O'Neill, it was obvious that things were getting to a boiling point with him in the organization, not just with the stuff with Ollie, but with the way that he was very public in his comments about how he felt about arbitration. That happens with a lot of players. But with Dylan Carlson, this is a very different conversation when it comes to change of scenery. You can see that there's something going on there that is just not working out, that they have to be able to identify and fix.
And sometimes guys just never do get healthy. The Cardinals have had a lot of guys over the years that just never do get healthy. And maybe that's what they determined, that, okay, he's never going to be healthy enough to play enough so that we can give him enough reps so that he can be good. That being said, if ultimately talent will play. Now, is he a Byron Buxton type talent? No, but the Twins gave Buxton, he plays 100 games a year and they gave him $100 million.
Right.
It seems to me that with a player of that ilk, he was a top 15 prospect in all of baseball 4 years ago. I would think that somebody would have, besides the Rays for Armstrong, would have recognized that talent.
I would have kept, by the way, and I know fans probably think I'm crazy, I would have kept Tyler O'Neill this year. He's going into a free agency year. How is he going to get paid? He has to stay on the field. So their frustration with him in a lot of ways is that he wouldn't fight through the injuries and stay on the field. I don't know, maybe roll the dice for the first half of the season and say, we understand there's some strained relationships here, but if you want to get paid, we know you're going to have to stay on the field. You're going to have to fight through some of these injuries. And he's been on the IL, I think, once, maybe twice with the Red Sox, but he's going to get paid. It may not be a massive deal, but he's going to get paid because he's a talented guy. I mean, you just don't find those kind of guys with that power, that Gold Glove defense, and that speed, and that body that can produce at the level that he can.
He's got 23 homers and 16 doubles this year and an .864 OPS. Meanwhile, across the state, the Royals are tied for first in the American League Central. They beat Cleveland again last night, and that young team is getting better. They signed 3 pitchers during the offseason, and they're performing at a very high level, and the Royals are in first place.
They spent a lot of money, and for them, they spent a lot of money. And this is a team that had 100-plus losses a year ago. If you're a Cardinal fan, I think it gives you a little bit of hope that you can turn this thing around fairly quickly, depending on how you spend your money. You can spend the money But sometimes it's not spent wisely. It's how you spend the money. And to their credit, they have spent that very wisely, and it's moved in the positive direction for them.
And they've turned their top prospect into a superstar.
Absolutely.
He's been developed to the point where Bobby Witt is a superstar. Cardinals' top prospect is not a superstar.
And if you build it, they will come. Look at the stadium attendance, the numbers that
They're
they have
4,000
seen.
a game.
Yeah, that is improved because people want to go see that. They want to go see a great product on the field, and that's what they're going to go spend their money on.
I hate putting so much pressure on a young player, but I'll put it on two. And we've put it on the veterans this year with Goldie and Arenado. The offense was predicated on those two guys being good. Going forward, Gorman and Walker have to be what they think that they were supposed to be.
Yes.
They have to be developed. They have to have success at the major league level. If not, it's going to be a long run in trying to turn this thing around because they have invested so much time and effort to make these guys major league players.
And that's why you have to take a really close look at the people that are coaching and managing the Cardinals' young players. Look around baseball, find out, okay, why is Witt succeeding? Why is Corbin Carroll succeeding? Why are other young players around the sport succeeding? And what do we need to do to get our young players to succeed at the same level that other teams, really good young players, are succeeding at? By the way, J-Dub had a couple of doubles last night for Memphis. We get that box score up here.
I think he may have hit a home run, too.
Yeah. So,
and then I think Gorman did not do anything.
No, at least he didn't strike out.
Oh.
Gorman 0 for 3 with a walk. Walker 2 for 4 with a double. So, and now he has 23 doubles on the year.
What was the crowd
two doubles
yesterday at the ballpark? I didn't see.
I think it was around 27,000.
Listed at 27, but there were...
it was very sparse.
Yeah. It was through the gates was apparently 13,000.
Frustration with the team, the heat, school back in session. It's a combination to see... Boy, a lot of empty seats. I never thought I'd see it this much.
Coming up, it's Ask Uncle Randy. It is Hump Day here, well, not only in St. Louis, but in Missouri and in America. Wherever it's Wednesday, it's Hump Day. Well, maybe not, because some countries have like 4-day work weeks, right? Or, yeah, come on. Some people have 4-day work weeks at least. There we go. Well, it's Hump Day for us, and it's maybe Hump Day for you. And we've got Ask Uncle Randy. So if you have questions about how to deal with the heat, if you've got questions about how to deal with the Cardinals, if you've got questions about the start of the school year, just send us a text, 314-399-9646.
Yo-ho.
Yes, 314-399. Yo-ho. Ask Uncle Randy next on 101 ESPN.
question for Uncle Randy? Let him dive into his infinite well filled with wisdom to find you answers. Text 314-399-9646. It's Ask Uncle Randy on 101 ESPN.
We're putting out a good one. We're putting out a good show. What's wrong?
What happened?
Those two clips are at such wildly different volumes, and I misread which one you were going to play first, and so I had them at the wrong volumes.
Here's the first one, and then we turn it up for the second one, and it goes.
Yes, and I confused it. It's got to be down and then up, and I went up and then down, and that was the opposite what I needed to do, and it.
All right, it's this is a difficult time of year. It can be stressful for students that are in that first week of school, whatever it might be. So if you're driving over to your college, and we aren't advocating texting and driving, but if you're on the highway and you need to text us, well, it is what it is. Send us a text. And we will, our text line used to be 65780, but it's not anymore. 314-399-9646.
The good thing is you've gotten over it.
I've gotten over it. 314-399. Yo-ho! Okay, let's go to the questions. Here we go. Matthew, what do you got for us?
Uncle
I was
Randy.
being Pat.
Pat the producer?
Yeah, Pat the producer on the show before us.
I just wasn't expecting that.
I can see you finally accepted the phone line. Is what's important.
Yes.
Uncle Randy, I play a lot of golf.
Good.
Humble brag.
Proud of you.
To the point past relationships have been influenced negatively by the amount of time spent on a golf course. My current girlfriend is very understanding and easy to get along with. However, I can see she's starting to get annoyed at times and make somewhat joking comments about my priorities. Should I take a step back from the golf or the girlfriend?
Well, here's my thought.
What a way to phrase it.
Yeah, what area code is this from?
The 618.
This is from the 618. Okay, here's the way I would look at this. When the right one shows up, you will automatically take a step back from golf. You keep playing golf to your heart's content. Get your game as good as you can get it. And if she's the right one, you'll want her as much as, maybe not more than golf. But you must maintain your golf game. And because it's a girlfriend, it's not a wife, it will become secondary. Once you find somebody that you want to be the wife, then the golf game will take a step back. Not become secondary, but take a step back.
How much do you step back, though?
Oh, 50-50.
Okay.
50-50.
Yeah.
Okay. I do understand.
Brooke, love is love.
Love is love, yes. And I understand that there is an infatuation with golf in this scenario. But he did say in that first sentence, to the point that past relationships have also been influenced negatively by this. So this
they
isn't
haven't
just
been
one
influenced
thing.
negatively because he's still got his relationship with golf. He hasn't liked anybody more than golf. That's what I'm saying. When the one arrives, you will like that person as much as or more than golf. So be patient, as Mo would say.
No.
Yeah, and
That's so good advice.
don't take a step back from golf. Here's the one thing.
Good job, Randy.
Is golf ever going to leave you?
God, this is
Nope.
This
Randy,
is
but
one
you
of your
also
best
need
answers.
to okay, but you also do need to make sure that you maintain relationships. If it's causing you to lose relationships,
playing golf
then
with
maybe
somebody.
that's concerning.
He's playing golf with the guys.
If somebody won't maintain their relationship with you because you're doing something that you love that doesn't harm other people, they're the problem in the relationship, not you.
But it does take a long time. Look, I do understand. I understand the love for golf. I love playing pickleball. I love playing tennis. But I do have to make sure that I allot time for the people that I love most in my life. And so I do understand that aspect of your priorities. You can still play golf, but if it's taking away too much time where it's taking away from that personal time with that person that you care about, then it might be an issue. So you can still do
But
it,
that's my
but you
point,
just scale back a
is
little
you
bit.
just don't care about that person as much as you care about the golf. And that's why I say just wait for the right person to arrive.
What about your dog at home or something like that, or a cat?
Dogs can wait it out 4 hours.
Absolutely.
Randy, just an incredible answer today. God, you're starting
Somebody
off so
said, "Is
well.
golf going to take half your stuff?" Come on,
Thank you very
stop
much.
it.
Depends how much golf you play.
Stop it.
So, and you know what?
It is expensive. It's
Well,
It is-
I think you
it
can
is
slow
what it
dance if you put your mind to it.
All right. Well, Okay, so there's another thing. If you want to put your mind to it at said wedding and you find somebody to slow dance with, then give it a shot. And you know what? Here's another thing you can do. Be honest. And this is if you're starting a relationship, or if you're with somebody, you just go to the dance floor and say, I can't dance, and let them run the show.
Yeah, just do something easy. I think that's better than just sitting back and watching everybody else have fun. You want to be a part of the fun.
There's a lot of people that don't dance, so.
Yeah, a ton of people.
Yeah. So, don't worry about it. Have fun at the wedding, though. I can't believe anybody in St. Louis is scheduling. Well, okay, times have changed. It used to be you didn't schedule an October wedding in St. Louis. You can now.
Well, yeah,
you are allowed.
Now you're good.
You might as well Cardinals schedule some concerts in October too.
I'm just, also maybe just work on some rhythm. Just turn on
rhythm.
Yeah.
I got music.
Turn on the Beatles and just clap along with Ringo. You'll get there eventually.
Yeah.
Dear Uncle Randy, I got divorced years ago and had minimal losses due to a prenup. I'm now with someone new and it's getting serious. When is a good time to broach the subject of a prenuptial agreement?
I would say that that would be, once you make that decision to take her hand in marriage, once you before you propose, say, hey, what do you think of a prenup? I would say that could be a deal breaker if she doesn't or he doesn't want to sign one. I would say that that's something that before you get into the conversation about getting married, the idea of a prenup should be broached.
The current significant other is being rewarded from the other prenup. Right now is receiving the benefits of having the money.
Good point.
So that young lady may say, you know what? No. I'm not signing the prenup.
And then it's not going to work. If it comes down to that, if that legal situation supersedes the emotional tie to the person, then it probably wasn't going to work anyway.
Yep.
In the prenup, do you also put in how much you are allowed to golf?
No. Well, that can't be a rule.
No, you would be shocked by the things you can put in prenups.
You can put a lot of things in prenups.
Don't put that in.
No, you don't put that in. You never put that in.
Don't you remember?
You can't ever hold that against you.
Don't you remember that there was rumors about Tony Romo and Jessica Simpson that when they were talking about that with their prenup, that apparently she had to maintain a certain weight?
Oh, I didn't know that.
I've heard about stuff like that.
You know what I'm talking about? Yeah.
I've heard about stuff like that in prenups.
Thank goodness she didn't sign that one. She'd have been in trouble.
Oh, my God.
Randy.
Dear Uncle Randy, I'm getting
She's
married.
back now, though. She looks great now.
But just to my 2 cents, if anybody wants to know about the prenup, I agree with you guys. I think that it's something that you definitely should get out of the way early and have a discussion about it and make sure that she's also fully comfortable with it, too.
Dear Uncle Randy, I'm getting married in October, and my fiance and I are at odds over having a joint bank account or not for bills and such. I'm indifferent on it, so how should I handle this situation?
Just have a joint. If you're indifferent on it,
If you're indifferent, how are you at odds?
Yeah, that's a great question. Now, you can have your fantasy football account separately, but for bills and such, I would say that you keep it all together, and even better, let her write the checks. If we are doing checks, if we're doing online, you can handle that yourself. But
am I the last one that still writes checks?
No.
Okay,
No.
I'm not in the minority here.
If the Department of Defense can be hacked, so can your bank account.
That's what concerns me.
Yeah,
I don't like it.
I don't blame you. No, the more you hand out your checking account number, the more it is available to people.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's the way I look at it.
Let's do one more. My buddy and I are going golfing this morning, and we might be paired with a random solo. Any tips or advice to make the time better with a random? We are going to Sun Valley.
I have been the random solo in the past, and I find it a great way to meet people. You don't meet jerks on the golf course. So you can meet a new friend. You can talk about what they do, what you do. You can talk about listening to this show and how do I avoid or how do I approach this situation of having a random solo. Just be nice to the person, because if they're out on the golf course, they're out to have a good time. You're out to have a good time. So just enjoy the company of the random solo. But my experience is with golfers and bicyclists, generally you aren't going to meet jerks.
You're probably doing a 4-hour show, though, when you're on the golf course. Are you really enjoying it because you're getting peppered with questions?
No, because sometimes I'm the random solo and a guy doesn't have any idea who I
are.
Yeah.
Oh,
interesting.
So you could be somebody else. Do you ever pretend to be somebody else?
No, I don't.
Oh, come on. That'd be fun.
So somebody says, hey, what do you do for a living?
Just
just this,
stuff.
little this, little that.
Pick up odd jobs
Imports and
along the way.
exports.
What is the best icebreaker?
Vandalay Industries.
What is the best icebreaker, you think?
Oh, when you play somebody in golf, how you hitting them? Do you play a lot? Do you play here all the time? Things like that.
Yeah, those are the standard questions.
Yeah.
What's your handicap?
Yeah. So, and this is something that
Should we bet?
Michelle and I had this conversation one time, and she was appalled. But this does happen, and we can take texts on this. But like you're out on the golf course, and like you come home and tell your significant other, "Hey, Bob's getting a divorce," and what happened? I don't know. You didn't ask him? No, but he got a new driver.
Literally happens all the time. Yes. David does the exact thing where he'll be like, oh, so-and-so broke up with their girlfriend. I'm like, what? Well, what happened? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, what did you guys talk about the rest of the time? How do you not get me details for this?
It's a guy thing.
Guys don't really care.
No, we don't. Hey, just don't tell us about the labor. Just show us the baby.
There you go.
We want all the details.
I know, and we like that new Nissan or the new Callaway Epic driver. We're more interested in that.
Probably right. Yeah. What golf set are you looking at?
Exactly. Yeah.
New driver, new wedge.
Did you get those fitted? Things like that.
Did you see Scotty using his new putter? Are you thinking
No,
about purchasing
Dan, I
one?
want to know why people broke up. I want the details.
I don't care.
So we learned a lot today. So basically, we learned that when it comes to golfing and love, I think that maybe you should choose love in this situation.
I say give golf a chance.
Maybe we
What if you
learned
love golf?
how to make a girlfriend or wife happy. Don't golf too much. You can still golf, but don't golf too much.
That's wrong.
But Dan, no.
Randy didn't say choose golf over love.
I said just wait until the
Just
right
wait.
one
Just
arrives.
wait.
Wait
the
until
one.
you're actually wait until you commit to the
Just
person that
a
makes you
little
want to play less
sacrifices.
golf. He's literally saying just enjoy your life until you find the person you actually love, which I think is some of the best advice you can give to people.
So
Never
just
settle.
sacrificing a little bit of golf and then also telling your wife or girlfriend the detail of why people broke up.
But we'll never ask each other that. We won't. So,
As you're passing time on the golf course,
Yeah.
maybe in those 4 hours, get out a few of those
we
details.
got other things to talk about. Hey, who you taking with the first pick in the draft? Things like that. We got things to concern ourselves with. Thanks very much for your texts. We do appreciate them. Coming up, does what the Cardinals do affect your mood? That's coming your way next on 101 ESPN. With fall coming up, you might be thinking about, okay, I've got this beautiful deck that I like a lot, but how about setting it up as a sunroom or a screen room? Get a ceiling fan in there, get a big screen TV, and make this a room that I can use year-round. You can do that by getting in touch with Chesterfield Fence and Deck. Their number is 800-300-4054. They're on the web at chesterfieldfence.com, and they do an amazing job with sunrooms and screen rooms and converting things in your house into different useful rooms. They'll come out to your house and they'll take a look at what you've got. They'll take all the measurements, show you pictures of jobs they've done, give you some ideas, and then they'll provide you a free, no-obligation project design as well at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. They're A-plus rated by the Better Business Bureau. They've been in St. Louis and been really good at what they do for 56 years now. They're one of the top names in home improvement in the entire country. You'll love the folks at Chesterfield Fence and Deck. I use them for my fence, and I use them for everything around the house. You'll love them too, and don't forget about this great deal for August. Mention the show and get 20% off your next outdoor installed project with Chesterfield Fence and Deck at chesterfieldfence.com, 800-300-4054. Chesterfield Fence and Deck, the sign you have the very best.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. Cardinals dropped the first two games against the Padres as they fall 7-5 last night. Miles Michaelis in the start, 5 2/3 innings pitched, 6 hits, 4 earned runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts, and the home run allowed. They'll be back in action again tonight, 6:45 first pitch, as the Cardinals will need to win this one to try to leg out a split in this 4-game series. It'll be Joe Musgrove, the righty, facing off against Andre Palante for the Cardinals. Musgrove on the season, 4-4 with a 4.43 ERA through 65 innings pitched. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
Live on 101 ESPN. Brought to you by Sumner One.
The Cardinals are not a franchise that has losing seasons very often. In the strike seasons of 94-95, both truncated by a labor stoppage, the Cardinals had losing seasons in both of those years. And I think we should add that the ownership at that time, the Anheuser-Busch Corporation, August Busch III, had kind of checked out. He didn't really care about baseball and care about winning. Before that, and this is the last time the Cardinals have had back-to-back full losing seasons, was 1958-59. Since the advent of the 162-game schedule in 1960, the Cardinals have not had back-to-back losing seasons. Dan and I both got into this business, and one of the first people that we worked with was Jack Buck, who took baseball very seriously and would literally lose sleep over the Cardinals not winning. And he would come in next afternoon after a tough loss and still be upset about it. I feel like I've got more of a player's attitude now. I used to be emotionally invested, but now, because I've seen players and managers for such a long time be able to put a game behind them, I do that too. But I still, and we get texts, guys, right? How can you guys laugh the morning after the Cardinals lost a game?
Yeah.
Right? So my question is, how does what the Cardinals do affect your mood?
I think that it's at this point what Dan has been talking about is that you have a lot of apathy right now amongst people. And that's the theme that I keep seeing over and over again. I'm sure you guys, when you talk to people out in public, that's the thing that they talk about, where it's like, well, I just don't tune in as much anymore. And then we talk about the attendance totals that you're seeing. It's also reflecting where people are also not showing up to the games because of the product on the field. And it's not just this season. It's something that has been trending in that direction. And I think that's how a lot of people feel right now. It almost feels like you ever watch like a bad movie, but you've already been into the movie for an hour and like 15 minutes, but it's 2 hours long.
You're waiting for it to get good.
And you're just waiting for, okay, maybe I'm already dedicated to this. I've already dedicated a lot of time out of my day to watch this long movie, and it's bad, but you still watch all the way to the end. That's what it feels like this season right now with the Cardinals. It's a bad movie.
I was thinking about what you just said, and it was something I wrote down. I'm concerned about fan apathy. Am I depressed or am I down from this? No. I just look at it, it's a business, and I'm a baseball fan, meaning not just the Cardinals, but looking across the board with Major League Baseball, so it doesn't affect my mood. But because I look at it as a business, and I'm more concerned about here locally the fans' apathy towards the team. Me personally, it doesn't affect my mood, but what I'd be concerned about, and I am concerned about, is just fan apathy. I hate seeing that. That's not good. I want to see the hometown team in any sport have the fans invested.
And the reactions here are running the gamut on the text line. Our friend Lisa texts in, I wish I could be apathetic, Brooke. Obviously not anymore. Another one from the 314, not anymore. But another from the 314, I feel depressed. With everything going on in the world, being negative, this is a perfect time for the Cardinals to gain more fans because it's something positive in their life. But when they lose and the rest of the world right now is negative, it's a double whammy. And that is something that the Cardinals should take to heart, because this is not the only person that compares. Let me put it this way. What happens with the Cardinals is part of what's going on in the world. It's that big for Cardinal Nation. And I think the Cardinals really need to take note of that, is that they do, in many ways, control the demeanor and the attitude of a town.
They really do, because this is truly the best fans in baseball. And I know that right now you look at the attendance totals, but we talked about it. The Padres announcers, the fact that they even pointed out that they have never seen Busch Stadium like this. It shows that these fans really do care. I don't see that as a negative for the fans. It shows that they care so much and how passionate they are that it's hard for them to sit there and watch to see the organization act the way that it is right now and to see the product on the field. I mean, I think for a lot of people right now, it's a lot of pain. Why did you guys get into sports? Why did you get into sports broadcasting, or why did you become fans of sports? Because it's an escape from all the other stuff. Yeah, and it's something to be happy, to find commonality with other people, and it's hard when you're seeing this right now.
St. Louis is just a lot more fun when the Cardinals are winning. Is that true?
No doubt.
Yeah.
That's from the 636, and there's no truer statement than that.
100%. This one from the 314. I lost half my finger in the in the meat department from a lack of concentration because I was so upset that the Cardinals lost a playoff series years ago. And I'm guessing that person is thinking it's worth it, too. Here's one from the 309. I love this. My mindset is similar to Tony La Russa's. When someone asks how my day's going, I'll say, I'll let you know after the game.
A lot of people are like that.
Very typical of a Cardinal fan. I was, I had the great good fortune to take a family to a game where one of the people has cancer, has been dealing with brain tumors and stuff. And so I was able to get tickets, take this family to the game. And this is an example of the power of the sport and the power of sports in general, but of Cardinal baseball. This was a week and a half ago, and they were playing the Dodgers, and this family doesn't have an awful lot. I mean, in terms of the health of this person, it doesn't have a lot. They don't have a lot to look forward to in terms of health. But he had his best weekend in years. And the family looked forward to it and is still reveling in being able to get together and spend time like that. And it might be their last best chance to spend time together. And I look around and I see them and I think, man, this is really powerful.
Yeah.
And Danny, I know you've done things like that a million times, but I kind of, until that moment, I have taken for granted for a little while the power of sports and the power of what the Cardinals can do.
I would go into the concourse with tickets and find a young girl, young boy that maybe had some issues physically and bring him back into the scoreboard room and then show him the booth. And it's an experience that you can't buy, and trying to do that. And that's the power of the game. Not just the Cardinals, but the game. The game brings people together, and it gets a little schmaltzy. I understand that, but man, families going down to the game, it's impactful. It's a really cool thing.
Let me make one other point about the power of the sport. If anybody has a parent or an elderly person that they visit in an old folks facility, a retirement facility, or any sort of or place where old people live, get there some night about 6:30, 6:45, 7:50.
They're all watching or listening.
They are.
All of the old people live for Cardinal baseball.
Yeah, it's just a part of the fabric of how they were growing up and how they grew up here in St. Louis. And that's that's the power of the game. Back to the original question, Randy, I'm just not as invested anymore with it. Yeah, I'm invested in the game. I love the game. I've always been like that. Tried to stay down the middle with my affiliation with the organization, but and make sure that I just love the game. There's things that change with the game that frustrate me, but still at its core, I just love the game.
For me, just even when you're coming in the morning, you talked about it. I don't want to come in the morning and have to talk about a loss and really drag this team down every single morning. I want to be able to talk about the positives. And that's something that also I think weighs on a lot of us in this industry, is that you don't want to always be negative about things that are going on. But, to your point of what you were saying about that older generation, I think the Cardinals really do need to pay attention to that. You have to continue to engage that fan base that has been dedicated to you for so long, but also you have to worry about that younger fan base and engaging that new audience that will continue to be lifelong fans.
And the best way to do that is to play exciting ball. Play the way the Padres are playing. Play the way the Reds are playing. The Cardinals have 71 bases. L.A. De La Cruz has 60. You need to... The best way to engage young people is with action, and the Cardinals need to be more action-oriented because they have athletic players.
And the 3-1 to your point, Randy, most of the newer generation haven't experienced tough years of baseball here in St. Louis, been blessed with consistent playoffs, a couple World Series, easy to be a fan when the team is good. A lot of truth to that.
No doubt.
I think the younger generation of fans, if you're 25 years old, you haven't experienced anything like this.
My daughter's 26.
You have no idea what this is like.
Yeah, and until 2 years ago, my daughter Katie didn't remember the Cardinals without Yadi Molina.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
It is, and without winning.
Yeah.
Or being competitive. I think it was just a couple years ago. The only time that they were mathematically eliminated was like a total of 6 games since 2001.
From 2010 to 2022, they had 5 games.
That's right. 07 was kind of a bad year.
Right, yeah. End of 2010 to 2 years ago, they had played 5 games without playoff implications.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. And it was 16... They lost in game 162. 17, they lost in game 161. And then I think in 18, they lost in game 158 or something like that.
And here's the thing. You always had players that made you want to go to the ballpark.
Yeah.
Matt Holliday made you want to go to the ballpark. Yachty would make you want to go to the ballpark. A day that Waino was pitching, you wanted to go watch him play. I don't know if they have that right now. I'm
giving Mason Wynn that contract. Did you see his comments from the other night?
I didn't see it.
He wants to be the face of the franchise.
I love that.
I love being here. This is what I want to do for a living. You go if a guy is embracing the idea of becoming the face of the franchise and he's capable of it and he's a great player, you keep him around.
And there's no reason to think there's going to be a fall off. The only thing I look at is where's he going to be in 2 or 3 years? How good is he going to be? I mean, that's the evaluation of understanding that this guy can play and probably play here a long time.
Yep. Dan, Brooke, Matthew, Randy, coming up, we've got Take It or Leave It. Get your text in, 314-399-9646, 314-399-YOHO. See you only next time, 101 ESPN.
take it. If you don't, send it right back.
Get your text into 314-399-9646 and give us your take it or leave it.
Brought to you by Gloria Lou Realty. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com and start packing.
That's my final offer. Take it or leave it.
All right, the text line is open, guys. I don't know if you saw it, but Rich Hill back for a 20th season in the majors with the Boston Red Sox. Take it or leave it. The Red Sox should have brought Rich Hill up before Players Weekend.
I'll take it. The Cardinal killer's back,
Yeah,
huh?
I love that.
Yeah.
The Cardinal killer, huh?
Yeah, but also the best Players Weekend nickname of all time.
Yes.
This is a great tweet that Matthew found from John Becker. Andrew Bailey was drafted, debuted, won the Rookie of the Year, became teammates with Rich Hill in 2012, retired and became Hill's new pitching coach, all in the span of Hill's career.
It's amazing.
That's awesome.
Amazing.
I love that.
Yeah.
That was a good find, Matthew.
That was a really good find. Okay, take it or leave it. We still haven't seen the lowest attendance numbers yet for Busch Stadium this
100%
season.
take that. Yeah, there's no doubt about it.
It leads me to my take it or leave it, which is the weather tomorrow is supposed to be absolutely no clouds with a high of 95, and it is a day game tomorrow. It's a day game for the Cardinals and the Padres. Take it or leave it. There'll be under 12,000 fans. Obviously, tickets sold is different, but under butts in the seats, 12,000 fans.
I'll take that.
I'll take it.
Man,
How about the
I hate saying that.
Well, it's the
September 12th?
combination. Yeah.
September
Day game,
12th,
heat, all that.
day game against the Reds. Thursday, September 12th, 12:15 against the Reds.
So we haven't seen the lowest crowd yet.
No, I
No.
don't think so. I think that, well, you know what, though? You might have that Thursday night. You got some games against the Pirates, too, that could be pretty dreadful. September 16th through 19th, those games against the Buccos could be tough, too.
Yep.
Yep. All right, Matthew, what do you got?
Do you guys want some hopium or some reality?
Hopium.
Okay, we want hopium? Okay, fine. Take it or leave it. J.J. Weatherholt rises through the minors next season, makes it to AAA, and potentially sees some MLB time around August and September.
Take it, yes.
I'll take it.
That's our second baseman.
They think they'd rise him through the system that quickly?
Yeah, he played all of his entire college career.
Yeah.
So he's
You
older
can
than
take
most
that.
of the guys. Yeah.
He's tearing it up right now.
Yeah, he is.
He's 23 or 22. Is he the same age as Jordan Walker?
I think he's older.
I think he is too.
Yeah, just a couple months older.
Keep it going with the copium, I guess. Take it or leave it. We make the NLCS in the next 5 years, not including this year. So you get
Leave it.
25, 26, 27, 28, 29.
I'm going to take
Leave
that.
it. I'm leaving
It's like
it.
29.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll take it. Within the next 5 years, sure.
What'd you do to your finger, Matthew?
I have issues.
Okay.
Oh,
Take it or leave it. At the end of Mike Shildt's managerial career, getting fired by the Cardinals and hired by the Padres will turn out to be a great thing for him.
I'm going to take that. I think sometimes it's good to get a change of scenery for a player and maybe getting out of an organization after 2 decades and having a different set of eyeballs, front office-wise, player personnel-wise. Not a bad thing.
No.
Not a bad thing to have a change of scenery.
By the way, Mike Shildt will join us at 9:30 on the show.
Thanks for getting that question out now. Take it or leave it. If the Blues perform above expectations early, they get a surge in attendance due to a lack of winning from the Cardinals and City this summer.
I feel like they will get a surge in attendance anyways, because if you looked at towards the end of last season, even though that we knew that they were out of it, fans were still showing up to support the Blues.
Yeah. They have a very passionate fan base and an energized and activated fan base in large part because of Doug Armstrong.
Yeah, the messaging that he's given fans, I think they appreciate that. Also, when Tom Stillman was in this studio, pretty blunt, upfront assessment of where they're at, and fans say, "Okay,
Yeah.
I'll grow with you. I'm in."
Yeah.
and I think that's part of it.
And by the way, the Blues do a great job of offering up Stillman, Armstrong, getting
They do.
Chris Zimmerman. We never get those offers, and not that the Cardinals have to do it, but that's just a different philosophy that the two organizations have. Is we don't get those offers, phone calls, emails from the Cardinals saying, "Hey, would you like to have Mr. DeWitt on?" We just don't.
Can I ask you a question that's off the beaten path
Yes.
here?
Can I add one thing to that?
Yeah.
I've never asked Bill DeWitt Jr. to come on the show or Bill DeWitt III and been rejected by them. I need to point that out. They don't offer them, but when we ask, they do come on.
Yes.
Is Mizzou going to sell out tomorrow? Speaking of tickets sold,
I heard they're close.
Yeah, I've heard that they're close,
I heard that
too.
they're really close too. I wonder if you get to a certain number that may even be short of a sellout, you make it a sellout. You say, "Oh yeah,
Yeah.
we sold it out.
Yep.
We did it." That happens a lot of times.
The old Rams trick.
You're saying that crunching the numbers a little bit?
Yeah, you crunch the numbers, you fib a little bit on the numbers, you
I
make
don't
it sound like
like
a
that,
sellout.
Dan.
I know, but
There's no
sports
way
is
that
business,
that's happened
man.
before.
Oh, yeah.
I
Never
said
happens.
Sarcasm.
Of course.
Speaking of that, Dan, take it or leave it. Turn your apathy for the Cardinals into passion for the Tigers and show up on Thursday night.
Yeah.
Take it or leave it.
Take it.
I think there's going to be some that do that.
Thursday night.
Yeah.
I mean, who
Thursday
would want to
nights
go
are-
watch
listen,
Murray State?
It's the Thursday night. It's the
Racers.
Thursday night factor. That's like let's be 100%. Like that's
Hold
the
on,
realist
though.
factor of the whole thing because
It
you
is a holiday
can't-
weekend, though. You kick it off early.
That's fair, but some people have to
holiday
work on
weekend.
Friday, and so like you can't drive down there and drive back. Some people can't because of the work day they have on Friday.
Very
that's just,
fair.
That's just not there. Even if it's the most podunk, know nothing FCS squad in the world on a Saturday morning, I can do that because I don't got to work on Sunday. And
Yep.
so it's just I understand. This is why I've always kind of been like, it's a weird thing that Eli's criticizing a Thursday game with just that reality
No,
being
he's just
so.
riling people up. I do not.
There's no hotels to buy. You can't even get a hotel there right now. Like it's insane. Like you
Schedule a
can
kickoff
for
classic.
this game, but
If
still.
Eli, schedule Michigan in a kickoff classic.
You get a lot of people there for that.
I'll show up.
Yeah.
A lot of people off of work that day. I do agree with you. I'm not a big fan of Thursday night games. Unless you had a holiday the next day off. Are you looking at ticket sales?
It's a texter sending in the Cardinals tickets for today, and apparently you can get in for just service fees.
Oh, wow.
There's no ticket price. Like they're showing us a thing that just says $0.
Holy smoke.
And so you're just paying
No.
service.
Are you
It's on the
serious?
text line right in front of like it's
Oh,
right
the
there.
text line's
Look,
on it, right.
Look at this. It's a screenshot. I don't think it doesn't look edited to me. They could have some crazy promo on their app that's like knocking it down, but it looks like you're just getting in for service fees right out of the Cardinals game.
All right. There we go. By the way, we've got the Illini also play on Thursday night. So does
Do they?
Lindenwood. Lions tomorrow night. Go Lions.
KU.
Yep. I wonder how much
There's a
Lindenwood
1%
favored by.
chance.
Well, I don't think they're going to be favored, Randy. I'm going to go out on a limb there. I did see a line of like 43.5, something right around there for Lindenwood KU,
That's closer than the Murray State Mizzou line.
which is 47
47.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say 44.5 for Linwood and KU, and 47 now for Mizzou and the
Lions.
Racers.
Let me tell you something. It is amazing to me, and Randy can speak to this because we went to Lindenwood. It is amazing to me that they're Division I and going to play KU after what we saw. And we love the school. I mean, the school was great for us. It was awesome. I played baseball there, and I loved it. We were NAIA at that time, and then they went D2, and now to be D1 and playing KU.
It's incredible.
It's amazing how much that has grown.
Well, it's because of former athletes like you, Dan, that
Oh,
paved
no.
the way for this.
I was what you called a bad athlete, but took advantage of the system, and very happy that I did.
You paved
Thank
the
you
way.
very much.
I paved the way.
Apparently,
Trailblazer right here.
Yeah, right.
gotten multiple texts that said yesterday on StubHub is the same way. You're paying fees, and that's it.
Wow.
See, I've heard a lot of people with the Mizzou situation are making it, and you're right, Randy, or Matthew, that a lot of people have to come back and go to work. But I've had a lot of people tell me they're making a weekend of it where they normally wouldn't go to a Thursday night game and then to go into the Ozarks. So go to the game and then go to the Ozarks.
That's
Oh,
a
yeah.
good play.
Good
That's
play.
a good play.
Yeah, that'd be kind of fun weekend to have.
Labor Day weekend. Yep, no doubt.
Get a bacterial disease. That's fun.
Oh, hey
you,
now.
Thank you, Randy.
And thank you very much for
Hey
your
now.
text.
Whoa.
Hey,
Matthew. Not good.
Yeah.
Hey, just water quality's water quality. What do you want from me?
here's a sobering question. With the Cardinals' financial limitations and their inability to develop young players, could they be bad for a while? That's next on 101 ESPN.
We are now just 8 days away, almost under a week. The NFL season is finally here, and where's the best place for your daily fantasy? It's with our friends over to Underdog Fantasy. Coming up on the best time of the year, and last year, over 1 million fans got in the game last year by making picks on Underdog, and you can join in and compete against other underdogs to win up to 325 times your money just by choosing higher or lower on your favorite player stats. My favorite part about that is you can mix and match different sports, especially as the NFL gets involved. We still have Major League Baseball going on, so you can mix and match what you want there. Even if you want to go off the beaten path a little bit, WNBA, FIFA, even esports, you can put over and under entries on Underdog Fantasy, and you don't even have to do just the live entries. You can put in ones for another week with the NFL. You can play streaks. They have all the different kind of games you can play on Underdog Fantasy, all the different ways for you to play. Making picks on Underdog is so simple, and it's easier to get started. Go to your mobile app or to UnderdogFantasy.com. Sign up with the promo code ROCC, and Underdog will give you a highly discounted pick to use on your first pick of entry, plus a first-time deposit offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code ROCC to claim your new customer offer of a gimme first pick and a deposit offer, and get those NFL entries in right now. Must be 18 plus and present in state when Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ncbgambling.org.
A fresh perspective on the day's top stories. It's the Opening Drive's Fresh Take.
In St. Louis, time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Dan McLaughlin, Randy Carricker, and Spotrac has the projected values of the upcoming free agent class out, and they believe that Juan Soto is going to get a 14-year deal worth $530 million, $37.8 million a year. Pete Alonso, they have as the number 2 free agent. They project him to get 7 years and $206 million, $29.5 a year. They've got Corbin Burns at $30.3 million a year. The Baltimore right-hander projected to get 6 years and $182. Willie Adames, who the Cardinals don't really have a need for, they've got him going for $175. Guys, I look at the assessed valuations, potential valuations of the top free agents, and I don't see the Cardinals swimming in those waters, especially with the decline in attendance, decline in revenue, and then the projected decline in payroll as well. With that knowledge, and I think we're pretty safe in assuming that the Cardinals aren't going to get Juan Soto for $530 million, and their inability to develop young players, has it struck you, does it worry you at all that this might not be a 2-year lull, that this could be a long-term lull if the Cardinals don't get a handle on this situation quickly?
Oh, 100%. It definitely sounds a lot of the alarm bells, because you even look about this when we were talking about this earlier, where you demoted Jordan Walker and Nolan Gorman here recently because of their lack of production. They needed to be demoted. Honestly, we talked about it, but those were 2 first-rounders that you had demoted around the same time and haven't been able to produce to the level that you need them to be or expected for them. I understand that there's overhyped prospects. I'm not declining that is a possibility, but to have multiple first-rounders not be able to pan out and produce in the way that you're expecting them to, I think that does point to the development.
And Brooke, Danny, I want to add this. You had a guy that finished 3rd in National League Rookie of the Year voting in 2021, Dylan Carlson. You had a guy who had 27 home runs last year in Nolan Gorman, and you had a guy that had a terrific stretch run last couple of months in Jordan Walker. So these guys have shown that they can do it at the major league level physically, too.
Yeah, I think they can turn it around fairly quickly. I do. I know a lot of people, like you said, Brooke, are probably with you and don't think that that's going to happen. I think that's a little bit of recency bias, that they're very frustrated with the club. Fully understand that. But you do have a core of Victor Scott, Donovan, Burleson, Wynn. The key to me, though, is Walker and Gorman. Mm-hmm. And if one of those guys hits, great. You need both guys to hit, though, to be successful. My concern would be pitching. And there doesn't seem to be a lot of pitching coming through the pipeline, because if there was, you would have seen Graceffo here, you would have seen McGreevy here, more so than what we've seen so far. You know, you do have Quinn Matthews. You're going to hold your hat to that a little bit. Hopefully that he comes through if you're a Cardinal fan. And then the other thing that I look to is, you know, Kansas City had 100-plus losses last year. You can turn this thing around. You don't have to spend a ton of money, but the money you spend has to hit. And that's why you can, in my mind, turn this thing around fairly quickly. It's not great. It's not probably the recipe that a lot of people are looking for. But to answer the question, I think you can turn it around fairly quickly.
And I think it goes into investing in development. That's the biggest part there. Because when you're talking about pitching, you're right, Dan. We've discussed this. Will the Cardinals have a pitching lab eventually? Because I think that's something they should invest in. We keep seeing that they're spending money on starting pitching. Obviously, they have spent a lot of money on their starting rotation, and it will even go up more so next season with Sonny Gray and his contract. But you're kind of swimming in the waters when it comes to the pitchers that they are picking up via free agency that they're spending money on, is that they're slightly past their prime. Who do you have in your starting rotation now that is in their prime, essentially, or in their prime for the next few years?
I don't see one. You know, you got Michaelis, you got Matz, you got Gray. I'm looking at Matz being a part of the rotation next year.
I agree with that.
You know, he's, what, $12.5 million, I think, for next year.
Right.
So it's cost effective for the asset that they have in Steven Matz. So, yeah, I don't see one in their prime right now. I really don't.
And I think the other thing you have to look at is we talk about the Royals. The Cardinals go 3 years, $75 million on Sonny Gray. The Royals go 3 years, $45 million on Seth Lugo. Lugo 14-8 with a 3.19, and for a lot of this season has been one of the top 4 or 5 pitchers. The Cardinals got the guy who was one of the top 4 or 5 pitchers last year. The Royals get a guy who's a top 4 or 5 pitcher this year.
Yeah. And that's a big difference. And having the money that's allocated to Sonny Gray could hamstring you a little bit. You had $50 million left on that deal for the next 2 years.
So where does the power come from this team? That's my big question, because Nolan Gorman, as we mentioned, demoted. And then Jordan Walker is the other guy that you need to really show up, because we talked about the struggles, especially the outfield, of somebody providing power. It looks like they are really dependent on Jordan Walker being able to reach his full potential where he can't provide that. So where is your power coming from? We know that Paul Goldschmidt was that guy for a while. The power from Nolan Arenado and from Paul Goldschmidt has been honestly zapped this entire season. So what happens with Goldie for next year, who knows? But my question is, where does the power come from this group?
The power is there. It just has to be unlocked. And that goes back to approach and coaching and being mentally prepared. I mean, look at the difference. You can't tell me that there are that many teams that have that much better physical talent than the Cardinals do that are hitting better with runners in scoring position. The approach, this is something that Mark McGuire's talked about a lot. Most of hitting is approach. And the approach just doesn't seem to be great with runners in scoring position here.
It's tough to watch.
Yeah.
It is.
And you're right. I mean, what is the approach with runners in scoring position? Again, last night, a huge issue as to why they lost. And if you go back to this year and put your finger on why did this team not have success, it's 100% runners in scoring position. So is that approach? Is it just the players aren't ready for the big stage? I don't know. I mean, going back to the original point of this segment, too, can I have a bounce-back year out of Arenado? Now, he's played well for the last month, but you're getting older. And you're going to sit there and say, going into the offseason, well, we got Nolan Arenado. We expect more out of him going into next year, too.
And
would you agree with that?
Yeah, but he hasn't played to Arenado standards. He's played well to Placido Polanco standards, but he hasn't played well to Arenado standards.
And I think that'll be the question for, what you hold your hat to.
Yeah.
Is you're saying, man, I hope it's kind of like this year, Arenado and Goldie, you got those cornerstones. Coming back into next year, you're going to say, well, we'll have this conversation, by the way, continuously in the offseason. Arenado's got to be Arenado. We're going to say that again. And can he get back to that level? We're going to say that again. And I don't know if it's there anymore. I just don't know. We're talking about guys out of the primes of their careers in the pitching staff, and probably you need to look at that with Nolan Arenado too.
Yeah.
Do you think if the ownership group and with the Cardinals, if they said this offseason, hey, we're going to start really leaning into this youth movement and we're going to spend a lot of money on coaching and really developing at the minor league level, how do you think fans would react to that?
I think they take it.
I do too. But
I think if it's an honest assessment of where you're at, I think the fan base would take that.
But then what you have to do is you have to put your money where your mouth is, and you have to make changes in the coaching so that you can get people that have a strong history of developing young players.
Agreed. And you look at like JJ coming up, you look at Walker, you look at Gorman. If you get those three to hit, and I mean not just hit,
Let's throw Chase Davis in there too.
Yeah, if those guys hit, meaning the prospects turn out to be more than just prospects and valuable players to your team, then this thing can turn around fairly quickly. It's a lot of what ifs, but that's what you have to hold your hat to.
By the way, I just made a completely BS, ridiculous comp, and scarily, it's accurate. Nolan Arenado, age 33 season, 14 homers, 60 RBIs, 720 OPS. Placido Polanco, age 33 season, 10 homers, 72 RBIs, 727 OPS.
And you'd say, here's the thing, too. You'd say, well, Placido, you're getting a deal out of. Arenado, you're not getting the most out of. Because it comes down to money and what you're expecting there.
And by the way, Polanco that year won a Gold Glove. So
he was a pretty good player, man.
He was a really good player.
He was a really good player.
Coming up, the NFL season starts a week from tomorrow. We're going to give you two teams that made the playoffs last year that won't, and two teams that didn't make the playoffs last year that will. That's next on 101 ESPN. Hey, if you are in the market to sell a home, you need to call Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty. Gloria's number is 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, and you can find her on the web at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Gloria has solutions if you want to sell your house for every kind of home seller. If you want a fast sale, no hassles, Gloria's got multiple cash offers. It's a great program, and it's a great option to consider. There are no showings and no costly repairs, and you pick the closing date. You always get the highest cash offer to choose from in minutes with Gloria Lou. And how about this? What if I told you you could sell your home, get the cash, and stay in the home for up to 12 months while you find or build your next home? Gloria is able to eliminate the traditional hassles of buying and selling at the same time. All you need to do to get started is give her a call. Gloria Lou, 314-325-6888, or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. As always, Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date. To learn more, visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. St. Louis's real estate authority, Gloria Lou. 1 week from tonight, the NFL season starts here on 101 ESPN. The Ravens and the Chiefs, 6:30 pregame, September 5th here on 101 ESPN. Okay, last year there were some surprise teams. There always are some surprise teams. This year there are going to be some surprises and some teams that are surprises in the other direction too. Brooke, Dan, and Randy are each going to give you two teams that made the playoffs last year that are not going to make it this year, and two teams that didn't make the playoffs last year that are going to make the playoffs this year. Can I start with the biggest surprise that any of us are going to have? Last year, the Washington Commanders were 4-13 and didn't make the playoffs. This year, under new head coach Dan Quinn, no way.
I got Washington making the playoffs.
Way.
Great minds.
So that's one of my
Great
teams. Thanks a lot,
Yes.
Randy.
Okay.
They're going to have a very solid defense under Dan Quinn. He's a really good head coach. They have a good young and impressive quarterback in Jaden Daniels. They've added some nice skill. They've rebuilt their offensive line. There's a lot of good things, a lot of things to like about the Washington Commanders, especially the fact that they don't have their old owner, Daniel Snyder. So, I'm picking the Washington Commanders to be a team that makes the playoffs in 2024.
That's a great one. That is a great one. And Dan, he stole your idea.
You guys always, I have to go third in these things. So I get all my ideas.
Go
You
second.
can go second.
Okay.
And I won't even give you my other. So that was kind of my bonus pick. I've got two other
Really?
ones too. Yeah,
Chicago Bears.
Oh,
that's a good one.
That's a great one.
I'm buying it. I'm probably buying into their preseason because of Hard Knocks. I bet I
it's
am.
fun.
But I'm a big believer in Caleb Williams. I think the Chicago Bears, with the weapons that he has too offensively, he's got some weapons. They're going to be pretty good, and I expect them to get into the playoffs.
Did you see they cut the eagle?
I did see that. Why
yeah.
sad?
Sad.
I
Yeah.
don't want to see that.
I don't either.
Now,
That's all
Randy,
right.
I'm surprised that you didn't say this one because I think the Chargers will be the team that definitely has a bounce back. You heard what
They're
Harbaugh
on my
said the
list.
other day.
Great leader.
In the elevator. Who was it that was calm under
Justin
the pressure?
Herbert didn't even sweat.
Didn't
in
even
2 hours.
sweat, and he showed his true leadership in
Yep.
that elevator. So I'm going to go with the Chargers because I think that they've been missing that piece of what Harbaugh can provide for that team. And I think a lot of people really, for whatever reason, don't want to. I understand he's been with a bad team and it's a bad situation, but now you have the changes coming into the organization. Justin Herbert, I still think, is one of the most gifted quarterbacks in all of the entire league.
The numbers show that. What he's done in his first 3 years.
It just hasn't been the right situation, and now you have the right pieces in place.
They're going to run the ball, though, so much. I wonder if you're going to see his skill set on display.
Well, play action. Yeah,
That'll help.
They'll turn him loose.
Yep.
The other one, by the way, and Washington was my bonus pick. I was going Chargers, and then the easy Bengals, right? Bengals
Of
with
course.
Joe Burrow healthy, they're going to come back and
Yep.
make the playoffs.
Can I
Yep.
give you a surprise one for me, at least?
Sure,
Because this
yeah.
pains me. This pains me to do. I think the Colts are going to have a big year, especially if Anthony Richardson can stay healthy. They have a lot of the pieces in place where I think they can really challenge the Texans in the AFC South.
All right, the team that I would look at not making the playoffs this year, this will put a smile on a lot of St. Louis fans, but the Rams. You got to keep Matthew. If Matthew Stafford can stay healthy, then I think they make the playoffs. I don't see him staying healthy. He's getting older. He gets banged up, and they have no backups in that situation.
Jimmy G is going to be their backup
Exactly.
this year. I think losing Aaron Donald is monstrous for them.
And that's the other part of
He's
this.
the reason they won. He's the reason they were great. And I think losing Aaron Donald is a monstrous
huge.
effect on the Rams. I'm
Yes.
with you, Dan. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs this
I
year
felt
either.
like he was the face of the organization.
Yeah, definitely.
I also always wonder if there's trouble in River City when you say, hey, this guy's open to go get a trade if he wants one, and then he immediately comes out on Twitter and says, I didn't ask for a trade. And that's their middle linebacker, Ernest Jones. Like something, what's the lack of communication going on inside the Rams locker room to the front office right now when that's happening such a public forum?
Right. And now he's a Titan.
Yep.
Good linebacker.
All right. So my team that made it last year that will not make it this year, I think an easy one will be the Bucs here. I think the Bucs are a pretty obvious one. Now, they were able to lock up Baker Mayfield. He deserved that payday. I'm not saying anything against that, but you did lose Dave Canales, their offensive coordinator. I think that he was a big piece of that puzzle. I'm a person that believes, I understand that it's on the players at the end of the day to execute the plays, but I do believe that coaching matters. If it didn't matter, then why do we always talk about some of the greatest, play callers players across all of the NFL or in any sport, I think it does matter to have really good coaching. So I think that's a huge loss for them. And then my other one will be the Cleveland Browns. I am not buying into Deshaun Watson being able to rediscover his Pro Bowl form because he hasn't been able to since he's joined them.
I love Mike Tomlin. And he can flat out coach. To your point, Brooke, coaches can make such a difference, and he's done more with less on some of these teams with the Steelers. The Steelers are my team, but I've got their problem at QB. I mean, when you look at the NFL now, and this is stating the obvious, if you don't have a QB, you're just not going to win. And with the competition they have with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, I don't see it happening. I just don't, and I don't see the Steelers making the playoffs. It pains me to say that because the Steelers are my team, man.
I think they're going to be fine. I think they'll make the playoffs again under Mike Tomlin. I'm with Brooke here. You know, the last time that Deshaun Watson played well was in the COVID season in 2020. Yep. Since 2020, he missed 21, started 6 games in 22, started 6 games last year. It's been a long time since Deshaun Watson has been good, and they've got Jameis Winston as their backup this year. I like Jameis as a guy. I don't like him that much as a quarterback.
Interceptions.
Yeah, a
lot of interceptions.
lot of interceptions.
Yeah.
So I'm not on that Browns bandwagon either.
What if Joe Flacco comes back, Randy, and leads them to glory?
That changes everything.
Hey,
that's
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now he's with the Colts.
Brooke, the Titans didn't pop up here.
I do have the Titans. I just felt like it was a little bit too obvious, and I didn't want to go full. I think sometimes maybe people do get tired of me talking about the Titans, and I understand. We have had a lot of struggles over the year. I'm excited about Callahan and what he's able to do. I think there is some very fair question marks. Will Levis regress this year? Did they really fix the offensive line? Now Callahan brought in his dad, which I think was a great decision that he made there. They also brought in L'Jarius Sneed, who was one. If you guys listened last year, Randy, I talked about him so much last year, about how I enjoyed watching him with the Chiefs because he was a big part of their defense and their success, which helped them go and win another Super Bowl. But there is some injury concerns. I know that he has some knee issues, so hopefully that won't be something that hampers him. But I think the Titans could be another surprise team.
There it is. Teams that will and will not make the playoffs in 2024. NFL season starts 1 week from tonight. Coming up, we've got the fight, and I assume we need a fighter. You can text in if you want to fight. 314-399-9646, 314-399-YO-HO. Maybe Matthew will pick you if you text in with your name and the word fight, and he'll choose it randomly, but maybe you will fight me next on 101 ESPN. I don't know about you, but I'm doing a Labor Day barbecue, and it is going to be delicious, and I'm going to get all the ingredients from Schnucks. And before I go to Schnucks, I'm going to make sure that I have my Schnucks Rewards app updated so that I can get double rewards points. That's right. When you download the Schnucks Rewards app, you're going to get at some point an individual coupon that allows you to get 4% back rather than 2% back on everything that you purchase at Schnucks. So you walk into Schnucks and you see that delicious and colorful and beautiful produce produce, and it's a fantastic produce department. If you want to get all of the tomatoes and lettuce for your burgers, get it there, and then you move on to the best bakery in town and get some of those brioche buns, and then head right straight back to the meat department and get yourself some of that delicious burger that they have, and set yourself up for some great burgers for your fantastic Labor Day feast at Schnucks. Get some tater tots. They've got the frozen tater tots in the frozen aisle. Get yourself some ice cream and just set yourself up with everything that you like when you go to Schnucks. And don't forget, before you go, download the Schnucks Rewards app.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling. The Padres beat the Cardinals again in Game 2 of their 4-game series, 7-5. The Cardinals will look for a win tonight as they will try to salvage a split from this series. Another 6:45 first pitch. It'll be Joe Musgrove taking on Andre Palante in that matchup. Also coming up later on in today's show after this segment, it'll be Kyle Gibson, Cardinals starting pitcher, and then at 9:30, Padres manager Mike Shildt will join the show. That is your Sports Center update, brought to you by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Welcome back to the opening drive. Brooke, Dan, Randy, and Rockio here, and it is time for the fight. And our fighter today is Brian. Brian, how are you doing this morning? Brian? Hello? Brian?
Yeah, Brian isn't quite there. We'll figure it out.
Oh, no.
Oh, he just texted and he said, my call dropped. So we're calling you back, Brian, if you're listening on the radio right now. We're calling you back. Make sure and answer the phone, and you, sir, will fight Randy. Rocc has Brian, and now we're ready for the fight. Brian, good morning. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for hanging with us with some of the confusion on the phone lines.
No problem at all, Danny Mac.
All right, baby. Thank you. Let's do this.
All right, Brian, are you ready for question number one?
I'm ready.
Okay. The Major League Baseball record for consecutive stolen bases is an even 50. Who set that record? Was it Ichiro, Ricky Henderson, or Vince Coleman?
Ricky Henderson.
Final answer, Brian?
Final answer.
Question 2. While Jared Goff owns the regular season record for single game completions with 45, that does fall short of the playoff record of 47. Which future Hall of Fame QB owns that record set during the 2020 playoffs? Was it Ben Roethlisberger, Tom Brady, or Aaron Rodgers?
Let's go with A-Rod.
Aaron Rodgers.
Yes, sir.
Question 3.
There are 2 pitchers in Major League Baseball history to rack up 4 consecutive Cy Young Awards. Greg Maddux and who else? Is it Roger Clemens, Randy Johnson, or Jim Palmer?
Let's go with the Rocket, Roger Clemens.
And question 4, which MLB and Yankee legend owns the career World Series records for home runs and runs batted in during the Fall Classic? Was it Yogi Berra, Babe Ruth, or Mickey Mantle?
Let's go with Mickey Mantle.
All right, Brian, let me go grab Randall.
How are you feeling, Brian?
I feel better than the last time I fought him in last November.
Oh, okay. So this isn't your first time facing Randy in the fight.
It's my second.
This is your second. Oh, here comes Randy in right now. Grapes in hand, not demolished today. It's an assortment of grapes.
Red and green.
Red and green. Ooh.
He was talking with King Scott.
Oh. King Scott is the best.
He is my guy. He's great. What a
Great
nice guy
hair.
from the Rich. Best. I want hair like that. I will never have it.
I every time I see his hair, I'm like, I want that hair.
I want hair like that.
So King Scott has the nickname because he's got a lion's mane. He's like the king of the jungle.
It's beautiful.
It is
like
fantastic
it's
hair.
stunning. Every time I see it, I want his hair. Now it's starting to sound creepy the amount of times I'm saying this. All right, Randy, say hi to Brian.
I want his skin.
Say hi to Brian.
Hi, Brian. Good morning. How you doing?
Randy, how you doing?
Good. Brooke said that this sounds creepy, and I took it to another level. Thanks for listening. Thanks for joining us, and thanks for playing. We appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay.
All right, here's question number 1. The Major League Baseball record for consecutive stolen bases is an even 50.
50.
Who set that record?
Vincent Van Gogh. Vince Coleman. Van
It is such a
Gogh,
good-
not
yeah.
Gio.
Such a good nickname.
Yeah.
That is a good nickname.
TH. It was Vincent Van Gogh. Yeah, 50 stolen bases by Vince Coleman.
Well, you were quick
In
on
a
that
row.
one.
He was pretty good.
I didn't even
He was
finish
fun
the
to watch.
sentence.
I want another player like that.
Maybe
Yes.
Victor Scott.
That'd be good. You know what? I would also like to have Vince Coleman teaching base stealing to Victor Scott. I think that would be fun. Vince was so fast that people didn't recognize that he really paid attention to Lou Brock and understands the science of base stealing. He'd be a great guy to have in this organization.
I was down at fantasy camp one time, and if you paid a certain amount, you got individual instruction from Hall of Famers. So I sat in on the Lou Brock one.
Best.
Oh, my gosh. It was a tutorial on how to steal bases.
Yeah.
It was awesome. All right, question 2. You ready?
Yes, ready.
While Jared Goff owns the regular season record for single game completions with 45. That falls short of the playoff record of 47. Which future Hall of Fame QB owns that record set during the 2020 playoffs?
I'm going to go with him being a future Hall of Famer. And they won the Super Bowl that year. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers did. I wonder if it might have been Tom Brady. I'm going to go with braids.
Final answer?
Yes, sir.
Question 3.
There are 2 pitchers in Major League Baseball history to rack up 4 consecutive Cy Young Awards. Greg Maddux and who else?
4 consecutive Cy Young Awards. There's only 3 possibilities here, right?
Give me the 3.
That's
The 3 possibilities
Yep.
are Greg Maddux, Roger Clemens, and the big unit, Randy Johnson. I believe that the Rocket may have done it. I'm going to go with, well, I'll go with Clemens. No, I'll go with Randy Johnson.
Is that your final answer?
Final answer, sir.
You were kind of wavering, and remember we
I was
talked about
totally
this.
wavering.
talked about this in back in the office. How I want you to have conviction.
Yeah, I wanted to have conviction
I'm trying to
there.
teach you in this.
Yeah, I'm just
trying to teach you.
Trying to help you.
I appreciate
You don't win
that.
a lot of these, so I just want to make sure
Thanks,
you
Dan. Appreciate the coaching.
No problem, buddy. Okay, question 4. Which MLB and Yankee legend owns the career World Series records for home runs and runs batted in during the Fall Classic?
Home runs and runs batted in during the Fall Classic.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guy that played in a lot of World Series is Reggie Jackson. He had the nickname, I don't know if you're aware of this, Mr. October. And one time hit 3 home runs in a World Series game. Hit 5 in a World Series. And played in a lot of World Series because he played in 3 for Oakland. And then I think 3 for the Yankees as well. So you'd have to move on to the other Yankee dynasty here with the Paul O'Neills and Derek Jeters of the world. But this is only in the World Series. So I am going to go with well, hold on. Do we go with Mr. October or do we go with Baby Ruth? Because he had a lot of home runs and drove in a lot of runs during the World Series, too.
Boy, did he ever.
And he's a Yankee legend.
He sure is. Matthew
Okay.
swaying back and forth. Intently listening.
I'm swaying back and forth.
What did we talk about with this?
Conviction, Dan. Conviction.
That's right.
Coach Dan.
Coach Dan. I will go with... Can you repeat the question?
Which MLB
And Yankee legend.
owns the career World Series records for home runs and runs batted in during the Fall Classic?
I'll go with Mickey Mantle.
You didn't even mention that in the other two, and now
I know. I think he might have 18. Something like that. I'll go with Mickey Mantle.
you're impressive, Randall. You are impressive.
But was he impressive enough
Let's
to take
find
down
out.
Brian in a second opportunity for Brian at the champ? Does he cut him under with a victory? Or does Megamind keep on rolling through the week? Ring that bell. Oh, hold on a second. My bad.
Ring that bell.
Randy Carricker,
The fight is presented.
Does this mean...
Try it again. There it is.
the winner and still champion of the fight, Randy Carricker.
The fight is presented by Golf Discount of St. Louis. With the most experienced club fitters in town. Why shop anywhere else?
All aboard. There we go. But let's get it to the right thing. Okay, here we go. We're just a mess here right now.
I'm sorry, Brian. Randy Carricker took you down 3-1 in that fight.
Well, I did better than last go around, but it was a pleasure fight.
Thank you. Great to have you with us.
It was a tough one today, Brian. Randy waffled and he almost made it closer. The at MLB record for consecutive stolen bases, an even 50. It is in fact Vince Coleman. He stole 50 straight without getting caught across the 89 and 90 seasons. Jared Goff owns the regular season record of 45 single game completions, but Ben Roethlisberger owns the playoff record. He went 47 of 68 in a 48-37 playoff loss to the Browns.
You're just assuming he's going to be in the Hall of Fame.
I did think about that.
Roethlisberger not going to be a Hall of Famer?
He's a Hall of Famer, easy.
Thank you. Okay, the guy's a future Hall of Famer. Get out of here. I knew somebody was going to say that.
I
I'll
almost
fight
did,
that.
but I didn't want to get yelled at.
I will fight it all
I didn't
day
want to
long.
get yelled at.
You can put Ben Roethlisberger in a gold jacket. Get out of here. There are 2 pitchers in MLB history to rack up 4 consecutive Cy Young awards. Greg Maddux and Randy. The waffling worked. Roger Clemens won 2 in a row twice, but Randy Johnson is the other one that won 4 straight. He obviously won 5 across his career. Early in his career with Seattle Mariners, and then 4 straight with the Diamondbacks. And it is in fact Mickey Mantle, which Major League Baseball and Yankee legend owns the career World Series records for home runs and RBIs during the Fall Classic. Mickey Mantle sits at 40 RBIs and 18 home runs. Yogi Berra right behind him at 39 RBIs and 12 home runs. And then Babe Ruth behind him in the home run case with 15 home runs and then 33 RBI respectively for Babe Ruth. So a 3-1 win for Randy Carricker in the fight. Thank you again, Brian, for joining the fight and joining the show today.
All right, thank you, guys. And Danny Mac, I just want to say I'm a big fan, and the only reason why the Cardinals are so bad because you're not broadcasting games. I want to put that out there.
Well, I appreciate it. I don't think I'm the reason, but thank you very much.
Appreciate that very much.
Very kind.
I'm glad that you asked that question again. I don't know why I didn't think of Mickey Mantle off the bat, because I knew that. Obviously, I said 18. I don't know why I didn't Say it right away.
Conviction, Randy.
I didn't have conviction, and it worked.
I was going to say, sometimes going the other way works too, Randy, where you go through your list of guys and then you really do a deep dive.
But Dan, you were coaching him through that, though.
I try to be a coach for Randy. He is the last person that needs to be coached. And if you need to be coached by me, you have issues.
Coming up, big game, Gibby Jim. Kyle Gibson next on 101 ESPN.
Let's talk it over with Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. If you're someone who is looking to purchase a home or refinance, you're looking to consolidate some of that ugly credit card debt, maybe you don't know exactly what direction to go to in any of these things, let's make it easy for you. Stewie from Stewart's American Mortgage. Stewie, good morning to you. I know you just did a reverse mortgage for an ESPN listener. How did that go?
Well, it went really well. You know, an elderly couple came into our office. They have a house in Chesterfield. They're living on Social Security, a small pension, and they're just not making ends meet. They had a mortgage, $250,000. They couldn't keep up. They're wanting to sell and to move to a small condo. When I told them about the reverse mortgage program where you can keep the house and never, ever make a mortgage payment as long as you're living in the house, they were ecstatic. We closed them yesterday. Took 2 weeks to get done. They never have to get a mortgage and they don't have to make a mortgage payment as long as they're living in the house. They ended up getting an extra $50,000 in cash to enjoy life. That's what it's all about. It made them happy. They can stay where they are, and life goes better.
I love it. Don't forget the bagel loan. If you borrow $200,000 or more, there's no underwriting fees, no appraisal fees, no title fees, no lender fees, no closing costs. Stewie, he is your guy. He makes it so easy for our listeners. Any questions on rates, the industry, the trends, give Stewart a call. Personal cell phone, he'll answer. 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. Or Stewie, what else can we do?
Google the bagel loan.
NMLS number 226715.
To the celebrity line now, and our friend Kyle Gibson joins us as he does every Wednesday here on 101 ESPN. Gibby, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. I was watching you the other night, and here's a question that we have never asked you, but I need an answer. What do you hear on PitchCom? How does PitchCom work for the pitcher, and what does it sound like for you?
I don't know whose voice they use, but I mean, you can have somebody record it. You can have it just sound like a, computerized AI voice. That's probably what I would compare this one to. Hopefully it's not somebody's voice that I'm saying is computerized, but it just says, the actual pitch, fastball, curveball, cutter, and then you can use buttons to go high, in, away, and then pick off.
Very interesting. Okay, I have an idea here. There used to be, and I think there still is, GPSs made with Snoop's voice. So how about fastball, dude?
Oh my word! So in Philly, that's so funny. In Philly, they actually had Real Muto record his voice. I'm not sure. Well, I don't know if JT wanted to do that or what. I've always thought, it'd be nice to have whoever your team hype person is. Maybe it's Snoop Dogg in this situation. Yeah. You throw a good pitch, and the catcher can hit a button and give you the data, baby, something like that. Just letting you know that was a good one.
That'd be great. And if you had any trouble, I see all the time the equipment guys are great with the PitchCom. In your experience with it, have you ever had any problems with the PitchCom?
Very rarely. I don't know if it's just, maybe later in the game it happens with relievers. I don't know. But I think every now and then it's just so finicky on the batteries of the transmitter or batteries of the piece in the hat. Maybe a couple times a year, you'll have the catcher hitting the button. At least that's what I've experienced. And, but I guess I've been pretty fortunate.
Now, Kyle, I think that Randy's asking this because maybe he wants to be the voice for you guys.
Well,
hey, I mean, I think we can always have, new voices telling us what to throw. That's never a bad thing.
He did distract Adam Wainwright once out on a golf course, so I think that he wants to be able to do that. Kind of sticking with that same subject about the attention to details, I noticed the other day when you were mic'd up for the Apple TV game, you pay attention to a lot of the details, including airflow is something that you seem to know pretty well, especially for Target Field and for Busch Stadium. Do you know the airflow of just about every single stadium?
No, I don't know that I can say that I know the airflow of every stadium. I think as you play places more often, and then you talk to people about why, maybe certain balls fly toward different directions in stadiums, you kind of get an idea of what happens. The old Texas Stadium had the windows that were open around the concourse area, so the wind would blow over the stadium and then come through those windows and kind of jet out to right center. So you had, different nuances of different stadiums like that causes it. And I just think it's one of the things that makes baseball pretty unique. And I'm sure other stadiums have different, air circulation things as well. But, man, there were some lefties in Target Field that were very disappointed at certain times of the year because that wind would just knock it right down. And then if they'd have just hit it 15 feet to the left, it'd have been way gone. But, I think, there's certain things in every stadium like that. And it's cool if you can, kind of pay attention and just see some of the nuance.
How often do guys go in the clubhouse during a game, Kyle, when it's this hot and try to cool off?
I would say a decent amount. I've kind of been somebody just throughout my career that I don't like to necessarily have the change in hot and cold while I'm pitching. Even when it's cold, I mean, it's got to be really cold for me to go in and sit in the tunnel and try to get warm. Normally you have, heated benches or just a little heater in the dugout that's kind of keeping it somewhat regulated. But even the other day, I stayed on the bench, and I'd rather not, at least for me, just get that feeling of almost the chills walking inside and then, kind of getting hit in the face by the heat again once you come right back out. But everybody's different, and sometimes it helps people regulate the heart rate and just the breathing and stuff just by cooling off a little bit.
Kyle, one of the things that I read about these new jerseys that you guys are wearing is that to keep you drier on the inside. That's why we see all the sweat, like Sonny Gray, man. He's sweating through because all the sweat is going to the outside. Have you found that these jerseys are cooler than the previous ones?
I think cooler would be, I don't know. I'm not sure how I would describe it, honestly, because I feel like the other jerseys would allow the sweat to evaporate a little bit better. You wouldn't see them stay as wet. These tend to hold in some of the moisture, I feel like, and that's why they stay the different color. It doesn't necessarily, even though it might have the holes lasered in, it's not like it allows my undershirt to dry out either. So cooler would probably, I don't know. I don't know that I notice the difference there. They definitely hold moisture probably a little bit more.
Are you looking forward next year to going back to the jerseys that you wore before this year?
If I'm allowed to say yes, then yes.
Okay.
I would like to go back to the other.
I am. So, okay, good. You guys are. I know you're going back to, that's one thing the union said, is that they were trying to fix something that didn't need to be fixed. And I loved the old jerseys. I love the bigger letters. I just love everything about them so much more than, I felt bad for Dylan Cease. I feel bad for all those Padres with those hideous road jerseys that they wear. If you like them, I apologize. But then they're all sweating through them, too. It's not great.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing is, how much they change colors. And then, even when you start, they're just, the pants and the jerseys just, for the most part, aren't the same colors. The Twin City Connects have 5 different shades of blue in it. It's just, maybe that's how they designed them. I don't know. But it's interesting how the grays don't even match up.
Kyle, obviously you guys were able to win the series against the Twins this past weekend, but you had a huge loss with Willson Contreras getting injured. And you guys, of course, are very familiar and work well with Ivan Herrera and Pedro Pages. But how tough is it to lose Willson Contreras again this season, especially here in a very important part of the season?
Yeah, Willie's just somebody that you really don't he's not easily replaced. What he does behind the plate and at the plate as a hitter. And just, being vocal on the field, he's just a tough hitter and a tough player to replace. So, it's obviously going to be tough here down the stretch, not having him. Hopefully he can be back at some point. But like you said, Ivan and Pedro have done a great job filling in and have done a great job, tag teaming kind of behind the plate there and taking the days they get to play, and offensively doing a good job as well. Pedro has I know he was off to a slow start, but he had really started to hit the ball a lot better, and Ivan had a big hit last night. So those guys have really good approaches at the plate. They're going to hit. They're going to be on base and doing the job, and they both catch really well. So definitely tough losing Willie, but those two guys are capable of picking up the slack and doing really well.
Kyle, it's been a couple of tough nights, obviously, at the ballpark, and the runway is getting a little bit shorter in terms of trying to get into postseason play. Just over a month left. What can you, as a veteran, and some of the other veterans do when you get to the ballpark to make sure that guys stay upbeat and focus on the now and things of that nature?
Yeah, I was kind of thinking about this the last couple of days after the games, and barring losing 15 or 20 in a row, right, we're going to be in this thing mathematically for almost the rest of the time. And, I just think it is something where you have to show up. We always expect to win. You have to show up ready to have fun and ready to just do what you can, and then look up at the scoreboard after the 9th inning and see where you're at. It's obviously impossible with the out-of-town scoreboard to not look at scoreboards and see what's going on. And if the team's ahead of you winning, then, what good is it? It's easy to look like that. But I think at the end of the day, if we go out and win series and we play how we know we can play, I think we're going to be in this and possibly in it at the end. But we got to go out and have fun, and we can't get tied up in what the first 130 games were. We got to look at the next 32 or 30, however many they are, and we just got to show up each day with kind of, like you said, that upbeat attitude, and that's really the only way that we're going to have a chance. If we kind of drag through this, it's really going to drag, and it's not going to be as much fun.
So, Kyle, you said you want to have fun, and that leads me to this next question. Saturday, you're pitching at Yankee Stadium, and you get Judge and Soto. Is that challenge? Is that opportunity? Is that fun for you? Is that something that you look forward to, is maybe facing the best 1-2 punch of our era?
Yeah, absolutely it is. I think in a game, the other day, sure, I mean, the eventual outcome, wasn't fun. Those 3 innings where I gave up 2 runs each inning, that's not fun giving up runs by any means. What's fun is the competing part and the process part and going throughout the game and figuring out the nuance in the chess match. And that's fun for me. Nobody likes to give up hits. So, yeah, I mean, I think that's definitely something that I'm looking forward to. You want to play against the best teams, and you want to play against all the players. And I think that's one cool thing about the balanced schedule is that, we're getting to face everybody. And, I'm excited for that. I think pitching in Yankee Stadium, I don't know what my career numbers are there, but it's a fun place to play because the fans get rowdy and they're breathing right down your neck when you're warming up, and you get a chance to talk to them if you want and respond to some of the critics and have a little bit of fun with it. So, I think anytime you go into the iconic stadiums like that, too, you get a chance to have a little bit of fun.
Speaking of how you've been trying to keep things fun and light, I'm sure for a lot of the players on this team, I saw that there was something that happened at the hotel the other day this past weekend where there was a water break, and you helped the guys making sure that they were ready to go the next day despite the lack of sleep.
Yeah, that was an interesting night. I must have been 1 or 2 floors just below all the craziness because I didn't get impacted by it. But one of the water mains or one of the bathrooms in somebody's room just, for lack of a better word, exploded, and just water was just shooting everywhere. Flooded like 2 or 3 floors, and as I got down to the lobby, going to breakfast with my dad, I kind of saw that maybe there was a few guys dragging a little bit. So I offered for some coffee because I'm always, walking around with 4 shots of espresso in my latte as I'm at the field. So a couple people took me up on it. Before you knew it, I was walking a half mile with 12 coffees to the stadium, making sure everybody's ready.
Kyle, 2-2 with a 3.71 at Yankee Stadium, by the way. You'll take that.
Oh, there you go. All right.
We'll take that, right?
Sounds good. We'll see if we can make a 3-2. That'd be great.
Yeah. September 6th, this is a week from Friday over at the ballpark. You and some of your teammates are going to get together as we start the fantasy football season. And that Busch Stadium experience, I've been to it. It's great. And I know that you and your teammates and everybody involved with Big League Impact is really looking forward to it. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Stubby and Scows are going to come out and help people with some ground balls and fly balls and stuff like that. So that's going to be great. And who wouldn't want to see Waino another time? He's coming back and going to be a part of it as well. So, it's going to be a good group of us players out there mixed with Waino and some coaches. And, I think playing catch on, I'm sure some people have gotten the chance to do it that are listening, but playing catch on Busch Stadium is just something that I try to never take for granted, and I hope fans will come out and have fun and be a part of that as well. It'll be a fun league. Kyle, as always, we thank you for your time. Have a great day. Have fun tonight and stay cool. Sounds good. Appreciate you guys. Talk to you next week. All right, Kyle. Thank you. Kyle Gibson, Cardinal right-hander, with us on 101 ESPN. Coming up, we've got the Rush Hour Reset. Stick around.
Hey everyone, it's Brooke here, and I want to tell you why I love the Missouri Athletic Club. It's because it really feels like I've joined a community. It's so much fun going over to the West location and having that buffalo chicken wrap for lunch with the sweet potato fries, and then sticking around to play some tennis with Scott. Tennis is a sport that I played my entire life, and thanks to the Missouri Athletic Club, I'm able to get back into that sport on a more consistent basis, and it's helped my pickleball game too, which is something you can also do over there at the Missouri Athletic Club. They always provide such a wonderful experience, and that's why I love my MAC.
Hey, folks, homes in the St. Louis area commonly face water heater issues like sediment buildup and odd sounds and insufficient hot water and leaks. Well, no matter what issue you might be experiencing with your water heater, Hoffman Brothers can quickly diagnose and resolve the problem. Schedule it today at HoffmanBros.com or give them a call at 314-664-3011. Hoffman Brothers is an independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, and with the hot weather that's with us right now, it's a pretty good idea to give them a call at 314-664-3011 and set up your appointment to get that air conditioner checked out. We're going to have another month of hot weather, and you want to make sure that your air conditioner is good to go. And if you haven't had it serviced yet, you still have time. You don't want your air conditioner breaking down when it is hot outside, and Hoffman Brothers will take care of it. And sign up today for their home protection plan, and you can have peace of mind. Whether it is your air conditioner or your furnace, they'll make sure that it's good for you at Hoffman Brothers. Again, the number, text or call 314-664-3011 or find them on the web at HoffmanBros.com.
Stories of the day on the opening drive with a Rush Hour Reset.
It is 9:09, 9:10 now in St. Louis. Time check brought to you by Clarkson Jewelers, an officially licensed Rolex jeweler. Brooke Grimsley, Danny Mack, Randy Carricker, and Mike Shildt coming up at the bottom of the hour. The Cardinals fall last night at the ballpark, and their playoff chances are dwindling by the day. They take on San Diego again tonight at Busch Stadium, and hopefully they can come away with a victory. Andre Palante is going for the Redbirds.
Hey, at least you have Andre Palante on the mound. Isn't that crazy just how the starting rotation has evolved? I honestly did not know what to expect, and I wasn't too high on Andre Palante being an option in the starting rotation, but I was completely wrong. He has had their best ERA out of the entire starting rotation for them, and it feels like the most consistent performance-wise.
The Tigers, by the way, just looking at this, wake up today with a better chance at reaching the postseason, 4.1% than the Rays, the Cubs, the Cardinals, and the Giants.
Wow.
That's the Tigers.
Are they over 500? Did they win
They're
last
hovering.
night?
They're hovering.
Okay.
By the way, the Cardinals went 1 for 10 with runners in scoring position, left 10 on, left the bases loaded twice without scoring. San Diego on the flip side goes 4 for 7 with runners in scoring position, 4 left on. And that sums up your ball game last night at the ballpark downtown in St. Louis.
Tough inning for John King. He allows 3 hits and a couple of runs in his inning of work. Didn't strike anybody out, did walk one. And then Kittredge came on, performed well. So did Riley O'Brien, although he did allow a home run in his first game with the Cardinals since way back in April against the Doyers.
Mm-hmm. It's been a while since that we have seen them. And then you also had everything that happened with Sean Armstrong yesterday, where you basically got nothing in return for Dylan Carlson. We discussed that at length earlier, but it's still really, really just tough to see that because you knew that there was a lot of potential there with Dylan Carlson, and a change of scenery was the big thing around that. But I want the scenery to change here. I want the young players to be able to develop and succeed here. Now, Mason Wynn on the flip side has been so exciting to watch this season. And Alec Burleson, you could talk about a lot of these other young players, but imagine if you would have had Dylan Carlson performing the way that we thought that he would.
And if it was a one-off thing, I could handle it. But how many assets have walked out the door here that the Cardinals have absolutely nothing to show for? Mm-hmm. You've got, obviously, Alcantara and Gallen, but then the guy you got for them walked out the door as a free agent, and Marcell Ozuna, he's performing at a very high level. Now you see DeYoung with 21 home runs. You've got Arozarena out there. You've got Garcia out there. You've got Patrick Wisdom doing things. Not that he would have been a great Cardinal. I'm just talking about guys that you have nothing to show for, and it gets frustrating after a while, and especially when you look at Dylan Carlson, and he's small sample size, but he's off to a pretty good start with the Rays. And Tyler O'Neill, nothing to show for Tyler O'Neill now either.
Detroit 5.5 out in the wild card, so they've won 5 in a row.
Yeah, they could do it. And by the way, A.J. Hinch is a really good manager.
Very good.
He is. He's a guy that gets his team going and gets them up and running. Brooke, you told us during the break that Mizzou has announced that they've sold out tomorrow night's game against Murray State.
Yes, via the social media. So this is what they have on their social media account. I know I like to say the social medias for Dan. I know that he enjoys that. The social medias.
Adorbs.
That's where
it's adorable.
It is adorbs. So according to Mizzou Athletics, their X account, no longer Twitter, they're keeping the sellout streak alive. The game is sold out.
Good.
According to social media.
You think it's truly sold out, or are we just adding a few thousand and saying, no, it's sold out, but still tickets available? We'll fit more in.
I looked, and they had a couple of hundred left. Might have been 250 or 300. A lot of times a company will step in and buy up the remaining tickets just so that they can make it a sellout, and then they'll give the tickets to employees or clients or kids or something like that.
And that happens across the board in all sports.
Yep.
It happens all the time. Our buddy...
Not happening at Busch Stadium right now.
Buddy Jack Quinn would do that a few times down at the old arena.
Yeah.
That happened quite a lot.
Pad the numbers a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got to do it.
Do you also go and get some fake fans to even really sell it?
It's not,
I'm not saying
like
Mizzou's
cardboard cutouts?
Oh, yeah. I don't miss that. What a weird time. Doesn't that feel like 20 years ago that all of that happened?
Yeah. So a few years ago, first year that the Rams were in L.A., they hired Fox hired a company to bring actors out because nobody would come to a Rams party. Yeah. And they bring all these actors out, and you've got a big group of people, and right in the middle of the giant group of people is a giant St. Louis flag. It was the best. They had no idea that people were holding up a St. Louis flag among all these actors out there.
Did the actors take advantage of it, or did they just kind of stay away too?
Oh, no, the actors got paid to be there.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, they were getting paid like a couple $100, $250 just to be there to act like fans.
Wow.
I'm not surprised. Well, you, of course, have plenty of people available to you in that area that are looking for any sort of job. But, man, that is such a bad look. Or you can get some robot fans.
That's not a bad idea either, yeah. Robot fans. We need those here right now.
Robot fans?
Yeah.
What are those?
They were promoting a movie, and I think, was it a Chargers game last year where all of a sudden they had these like robot fans just in the audience?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, just in the seats, just hanging out there. And it was like, wait a minute, what's going on?
Coming up next year on 101 ESPN, and by the way, that is your rush hour reset. We talked earlier about whether or not you are, if you have your mood affected by the outcome of the Cardinal game. And there's a lot of people that texted in that they're apathetic, and I would assume that there's a lot more that are apathetic that didn't text in because they're apathetic. But if your mood is affected by the Cardinals winning or losing, send us a text, give us a mic drop. We want to hear from you if you are still that emotionally invested with the ball club. That's next on 101 ESPN. I want you to know what's going on over at Together Credit Union. They just launched a brand new high-yield checking account called Empower Checking. With Empower Checking, you earn above-market interest on the money that you keep in your day-to-day checking account. Interest is paid to you each month, and it's a checking account that rewards for balances and not activity. And here's another cool thing about Together Credit Union. They, of course, are the official financial partner of St. Louis City SC, and you can get your St. Louis City SC debit card when you sign up for Empower Checking with Together Credit Union. That debit card from City SC allows you to get express entry into the games and get 10% discounts on all merchandise and all food that you buy at City Park. Now, to apply for Empower Checking, visit togethercu.org or stop by any of the 14 local St. Louis branches and work directly with one of their amazing member advocates. Get paid to save with Empower Checking. Visit togethercu.org/empower for full terms and details. Membership eligibility required. Together Credit Union, federally insured by the NCUA. I love the way that sports engenders emotion. And here's a texter from the 618. I got Cardinal license plates put on my truck a couple of years ago, and now I'm considering going back to just regular plates because the team has become such an embarrassment. But you thought enough, you made that investment emotionally and financially in the club that you wanted to support them in any way you could, including with your license plates.
314, my mood is dramatically influenced by the Cardinal games every time. Joy, pride, frustration, anger. That's not apathy, Randy. I would say that that's a checkbox in the positive look at it because, as we've talked about, apathy is the worst thing you want out of this. I mentioned it. It's not going to change my day one way or another, whether they win or lose. For the city, though, and for Cardinal fans, I hope that they win.
This one from the 618. Apathetic, low attendance. Hopefully you guys will drop the BFIB BS now. The BFIB would still care and show up. Well, they still, even though the Red Sox finished in last place a couple of years, they still showed up there. The Yankees seem to draw pretty well, not all the time, when their team is not succeeding to the level. I really think if you're going to do it that way, if you're going to say that everybody shows up all the time, there's really only one good fan base in baseball then, and that's Red Sox fans.
I don't think that that's fair, honestly. I think that they're the best fans in baseball because of how passionate they are and how much they care. And I think that they're trying to show that they want some changes right now. When the product is not entertaining on the field, you have to really want change. And I think that's people showing that they're not happy with what's going on. When I'm out in public, I don't know about you guys, but when I'm talking to people, I hear a lot of apathy, but I also hear just a lot of anger and frustration. Those are the constant emotions that I feel like I hear from the fans.
Yeah, people are angry.
They are.
It's apathy in one segment of the population, but man, people are mad.
This from the 618. The whole effing city's mood is affected by the Cards, good or bad.
True.
It's not wrong.
It actually does affect businesses. I think that that's actually a good point, too, of, people are less likely maybe to go and watch games over at restaurants, bars, different things like that. I wonder how it also affects the numbers at Ballpark Village.
It's got to be huge.
Yeah.
I would assume it's got to be huge. I mean, the weekends always are going to seem to draw, and you're going to get people that go to BPV. But right now, you look at the seats and, who are the people that go to BPV primarily are those that are watching the game, that are in the ballpark.
And that's the thing I would think that the DeWitt family, the ownership, will look at mostly. This is a business, and there's a couple of businesses involved. Not that they're equitable businesses, because Cordish Corporation basically runs Ballpark Village, but who profits from people being in Ballpark Village? It's the co-owners. Yep. It's the DeWitts, right? It's a real estate venture for them, and it's right next door to Busch Stadium. How are you going to get people into the ballpark or into Ballpark Village? By having people in the ballpark. How do you get people into the ballpark? By winning. I think that is the connection that you have to hope for. That, okay, we need to win with this business A so that this business B can succeed?
It's got to be winning. Winning's going to bring you down to the ballpark. A lot of people have texted in and said the fan base is spoiled. I kind of agree with that in terms of the younger fans, and then where you see your anger. You see it on social media. Where are younger fans on social media? They're upset, and they haven't experienced something like this, and I think that's part of what we see if we just browse through social media. You see a lot of nasty stuff. Where's it primarily coming from? Not always, but younger fans, and they're just not used to seeing losing.
Here's an interesting note, Dan. The Cardinals were the only reason I kept cable TV. I canceled my subscription mid-June, and I'm extremely apathetic and can't get excited.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to follow it unless the team's winning.
Yep.
And that's, you come down, there's a lot of things we talk about. Is it the crime in the city and being worried about that? Probably for some. Is it the fact that there's not a signature player you want to go watch? Probably. Maybe Mason Wynn. And then the number one thing is you're just not winning, and not winning with an entertaining style of baseball. They're in some of these games, but they're just not all that entertaining, and that's a problem.
I think so. And just touching on the spoiled comment, because Randy, I know that you had mentioned this before, and you got some backlash for it. The only reason that fans would be spoiled is because of the expectations and the history of what has been set here. So the expectations are extremely high because you've been spoiled by great legends that have come through here and great teams that have also played here.
It's not somebody's fault that they are spoiled. If a kid gets everything they ask for and never have to say please, then they can get spoiled. Fans have gotten everything they've asked for here in terms of winning over the years, and it's easy to get spoiled. It's easy to have those sorts of expectations.
Winning.
This one finally from the 6-1 hate. He says, every loss is pathetic and pisses me off. Now, if we were talking about, are you happy about winning? He'd say, every win is pathetic and pisses me off because it is the 6-1 hate.
Yeah. Good point, Randy.
Thank you. Coming up, we're going to talk to former Cardinal manager and now Padres skipper Mike Shildt. He's next on the opening drive on 101 ESPN.
Come on in to Total.
This is Rocky with your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. The Padres with a win last night over the Cardinals, 7-5. They have taken the first two of this four-game series. The Cardinals will look for a win in tonight's Game 3, 6:45 first pitch, and it'll be a battle of the righties. Joe Musgrove facing off against Andre Palante for the Cardinals. That is your Sports Center update, driven by Johnny Londoff Chevrolet and Johnny Londoff Autoplex. See them at londoff.com. Chevy, together we drive. Are you kidding me?
With Brooke Grimsley and Dan McLaughlin, I'm Randy Carricker. It is the opening drive on 101 ESPN, and we head to the celebrity line now. And our friend, the Padres manager, Mike Shildt, kind enough to join us. Michael, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well, guys. Good morning.
Hey, we're thrilled to have you with us. I want to start with this. Your club 29-13 since June 19th. That's the best record in Major League Baseball. Is Mike Shildt having fun?
Yeah, it's a good group. I'm really enjoying the group quite a bit. Yeah, I love everything about what's taking place. You know, the winning obviously helps, but, you know, I've just enjoyed partnering with our team. Love our clubhouse, love the staff. Just a good situation.
Mike, it's great hearing from you, and it's been great to see what you guys have been able to accomplish this season. Your team, as we have seen, is very well balanced, a combination of youth and experience with an exciting rookie talent like Jackson Merrill and a veteran talent of Manny Machado, just to name two that you have on there. How do you manage your young stars versus your veteran stars?
Yeah, we've got good guys. They like to play. Got a real passion for the game, so that part makes everything way easier. You know, we've got established players. You mentioned Manny, and you know, he's just really been a guy that, you know, last offseason was able to sit down with and just talk about, you know, how we wanted this to look among other veteran players. And you know, he's just been, I can't, you know, say enough about him and the other veteran guys in the club. And you know, then, you know, when you have guys like that, you know, have the right mindset of how they want to conduct themselves and prepare and play, they, you know, set a good example for the young players. And, you know, they've been able to welcome Jackson. And, you know, it's a two-way street. Those guys do their part to welcome him, and then Jackson does his part to be available to it and be open to it. And he really is. He's a very, very mature young man that loves the game and clearly has a lot of talent. So, you know, it's a good combination.
Hey, Shildt, Danny Mac here, and thanks so much for doing this.
Only for you, Danny Mac.
Love you, buddy.
Yeah,
do you still have George Kissel's book on your desk? I'm curious.
It's right there.
I love it. And do you still go to it? Do you still go to it every night?
I look at it. I leave it at the ballpark because I feel like Mr. Kissel would like to stay at the ballpark. But I look at it, yes.
What were your emotions coming back to St. Louis? And I know you've turned the page and you're in a great situation in San Diego, but I would imagine some emotions being back at Busch Stadium. What were those?
Yeah, of course. You know, I mean, a lot of good memories here, and a lot of amazing people, you know, that I was able to establish relationships with, like yourself. And so that's been the you know, the best part. I mean, the baseball is the baseball. Enjoy, you know, competing with our team, regardless of where we are. But really, it's been nice just to come back and reconnect with people that I hadn't seen in a couple of years, and be able to share some exchanges with them.
Hey, Mike, one of the common denominators, you and I talked a lot about starting pitching over the years that you were here, and I'm a big starting pitching guy, and when the Cardinals have won here, whether it was Andujar or Tudor or Darryl Kyle or Waino or Chris Carpenter, they've always had that number one. How meaningful was it for your team at the end of spring training to go get a guy like Cease?
It was huge. You know, I really applaud AJ for going out and making a move, making it happen. I stayed the last day of spring training. It was a unique spring training for us. We acquired Dylan on the last day in Arizona before we went over to Seoul to play 2 games to open up the season. And we came back and played a couple exhibition games at home. So I guess technically it wasn't the last day of spring training. But anyway, you know, we got Dylan, came off the field, ready to, you know, board a plane to get over to Seoul. And I knew something was brewing. But, you know, you never know how those things are going to turn out. And AJ was like, yeah, we just acquired Dylan C. He's like, whoa, okay. And then we get him, and, you know, he's been really, really good for us, clearly, and you know, establishes big part of the club, which is that starting pitching, and he's a big part of that rotation. And, we have a nice rotation. The guy's done a nice job. And Ruben Niebel, our pitching coach, has been really, really, really good. And we have a lot of good players to work with.
Mike, just going back, kind of touching on what Danny Mac was talking about, what has been some of the best advice that you received that has really helped you navigate the pressure and the daily changes of being a major league manager?
Well, that's a good one. It's I have a lot of people that have, and still do that I can take guidance from, Mark D. John, who's the field coordinator in St. Louis for a long time and a mentor, still of mine, gives me good practical advice, keeps me in the right place, gives me truth, which is very valuable and needed. Tony's always been good to me. Whitey, just a lot of knowledge over the years that people have been willing to share with me. But the highlight of it is, Tony would say, manage with your gut. Don't try to cover your butt. Just go. And then, of course, create relationships with your players. That's probably one of the bigger things that I've always had, really kind of inherently, because I got into this game just to help players get the most out of their God-given ability and connect with them. It's a players' game, and just enjoy the relationships and with your players.
Mike, I think it's so interesting, your perspective on this, because you coached at the minor league level, managed at the minor league level. You did things even prior to that with the game of baseball, and analytics has become such a major part of what we hear about the game. The average fan is hearing about analytics, from managing with your gut and then managing analytics. How do you balance the two of those things?
I think that's a nice blend. I mean, you're always looking for the sweet spot to make informed decisions that allow you to give yourself the best chances of success. And, the analytics they're valuable. I mean, they for me, they crystallize, what you're either doing as an individual or as a team, or areas that what you're working on, because you only have so much time and energy to invest in what you want to work on with, like I say, whether it's an individual player or more of a team, big picture identity thing. And, it creates clarity that you're on the right track or you're not. And then you can adjust accordingly. But it's not like anything. Nothing's absolute. Nothing's, foolproof. You got to, understand when to use it too. And when it actually applies that. And this is the second thing I use, I look at it for its valuable is, game decisions. And, it allows you to make an informed decision, but, sometimes you look up and you go, okay, this does make sense from the numbers, but in this situation relative to what we're seeing in competition right now with human beings, they have to make an adjustment. And so I use it. I think they're wonderful tools, and it allows you to have a crystal, more clear idea of how to put the whole thing together.
Mike, one of those people decisions you had to make earlier in spring training was moving Bogaerts over to second, and he didn't get off to the best start, but it seems like your team's success since the break has kind of coincided with him returning. Is Bogaerts just one of those linchpin kind of guys?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought it up, because he really is. He's a really, really good player. The guy comes over with 2 world championships, under his belt from Boston, so he knows what that looks like, what it takes. He's just a really, really good baseball player. And that was a tough transition. You come over to a new organization, which you've been and won your whole career, so new environment, all the things that come with it. And then, in your second year, you're asked to move up a position that you pretty much played your entire life. And you do it with a good attitude, but, it's not as easy. So, I'll do it for the team. And then you just, all of a sudden become this, really, really good second baseman, which he's become. And I give him a lot of credit for the work he's put in. He's really worked extremely hard. But it does take some time to make that transition. But he's worked his butt off to become a really, really good second baseman. And, he clearly is a big part of our offensive lineup. So, he's a big part of what we do.
How about Jackson Merrill for the National League Rookie of the Year? What do you got? I think I know this answer, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'm biased. I didn't get the opportunity to see Skeens pitch. We played him twice, and we missed him.
Well, you're lucky.
Yeah, it sounds like it. He's kind of one of those things you wanted to see it, but you're not sure how much. but the competition, you did want to see it. But anyway, listen, all I can do is, the one thing about Jackson, I have the same mentality, and I've talked a little bit about it briefly, kind of to the point I'm about to make. It's really not about the individual award for him. It's way more about team, which is why he's a special player. He really is a genuine, let's figure out a way to win today. I want to go compete. And so that's, it's one of the things that the mentality he's brought has been a real welcome addition to our club and part of what we do. But, so my point is he's not really looking at it from a, right now standpoint. He's looking at the team, what they're going to do. But, you take a step back and individual awards will come at the end of the season. We just go play our game. But, listen, I believe awards or anything is always won on the field. That's the one thing of many that I love about competition in baseball. It's all about the field. And, Jackson's, taking care of business. And I'm pretty confident that his play is speaking volumes about his ability to take down that award. I think he's very deserving.
Mike, one last thing before we let you go. We saw it here in St. Louis when you were the manager, and we're seeing it now. Your teams always seem to pick it up and really kick it into high gear in August and September. Why is that? What do you do to allow teams to, big picture, really kick it into gear in the last couple of months of the season?
Yeah, we just take a real, better as the day goes, the game goes, better as the series goes, better as the season goes. It's just really a continual improvement mindset. That's just the way I want. I feel like, the player development background has helped me with that. Just try to make incremental gains individually and as a group every day, be intentional about what that looks like. And, really that's all you can do.
Mike, thanks for doing this. Certainly appreciate it. Know you're busy here in St. Louis and can't wait to watch you in postseason play. Thanks a lot for doing this.
All right, y'all take care. See you, Danny.
You got it, buddy. That's Mike Shildt.
Mike Shildt with us on 101 ESPN. Cards and Padres again tonight at the ballpark. 6:45 game, and Mike Shildt will pitch. It's Joe Musgrove, right? That he's got
Musgrove.
Yes. Musgrove against Palante. And, of course, you'll see that one on Bally. Coming up here on 101 ESPN, we've got Rocc and Roll on the opening drive. Later today, I'm going to make my way over to Mentality in Chesterfield. I head over every week to take advantage of what is a great thing that they have there. It's getting your energy back. It's getting your verve back. It's getting the ability to walk 18 holes of golf or get through a workout back. You could do that in your 20s and your 30s, but as you go through life, guys, your energy level drops because your testosterone level drops. And that's what they pick up on at Mentality. They have an FDA-approved supplemental testosterone treatment that will restore your testosterone level back to where it was in your 20s. And it's so easy. All you need to do is go to lowtusa.com and set up an appointment today. And you can stop by their Chesterfield or South County location. They'll do a complete panel of your blood work to find out where your testosterone level is, and then they'll restore it to where it was when you were younger. They've done it for thousands of guys in the area, and they can do it for you too. They're going to work with your insurance company to provide the best deal that you can get, low out-of-pocket expenses as well with Mentality. Get started now at lowtusa.com.
And roll.
Let's rock. Let's rock today.
You get signed up to play in this year's Fastlane Pick'em Challenge at 101ESPN.com. Make your football picks each week to see if you can beat the Fastlane and the dudes from the Rizzuto Show. The Fastlane and the Riz Show are throwing down all football season long in the Pick'em Challenge. Get signed up to play now at 101ESPN.com. So Brooke was telling us, she's doing some classes now and telling us about classes. So when you have kids, you've got to do these birthing classes at the hospital. Dan, you had to do that, right? You got to go and sit and you have a big group of parents that you talk to. You got a lot of stuff.
I just left it up to my wife.
Okay, good.
I was a great husband.
So one time, we've got a group of people, and it's couples circling the room. And you have to go around the room and say what you're having and what the name is going to be. And on the other side of the room, we've got 3 consecutive couples. And I swear to God, first one was we're having a girl named Cheyenne. Second one, we're having a girl named Sierra. Third one, we're having a girl named Dakota. So then we get a bunch of other people, and then we get to our side of the room, and it comes to me, and I said, we're having a boy named F-150. I was joking, obviously.
Did anybody get it?
It got a little bit of a guffaw from some of the guys that picked up on that, yeah.
I like that.
3 pickup trucks in a row.
Wow.
I bet it was just flying over everybody's head because they're so concerned anyway about what's going on. So it just flew right over their head.
They weren't all about fun. I was all about fun. And yeah, not everybody. Some people take that having a kid thing really seriously. That wasn't for me.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to lighten up a little
lot of
bit.
pickup trucks.
Yeah, that is a lot of
Come on,
pickup
be more
trucks.
creative, people. Oh, I'm driving down Olive. Oh, Cheyenne, that's a good name.
What is a car name that would not be a good name? Oh, we're going to offend somebody probably. Prius?
Prius would not be that's probably not a great name.
No. People are, I feel like now.
I think there's people named Mustang.
No.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. There's a Maverick. Maverick McNeely is a golfer.
Yeah, that's true.
Pinto. Pinto Animal House.
I feel like people are getting a lot more creative with baby names now because everybody wants a truly unique baby name where you're not getting a lot of, there's a lot of names that have gone out of style.
Yeah. Oh, there are. Do you know any Berthas?
I can't say that I do.
Nope.
Karen
No.
is probably a name that is going out of style
Probably
just
not.
because of how people use it now.
Yep.
My grandma's name was Martha, and I just don't think we're getting a lot of Marthas anymore.
No. My mom's name is Irma. I don't think
We're
I've
not getting
met
any
Irma.
Irmas.
Yeah, I haven't.
Used to be a great restaurant here called Max and Irma's.
Loved it.
It was fantastic. Yeah, they had one over at West County Center.
Yep. You know what's weird? We're still getting plenty of Maxes.
Yeah.
How come the name Max didn't also rise and fall with Irma?
That's a great question. You know what else is, it's kind of never gone away, is Sammy. And Sammy's coming to town for a sold-out concert August 31st.
That's a pro's pro right there.
That was great.
That's a pro's pro move.
Thank you, Dana.
That's conviction on Sammy.
That's conviction.
Sammy Hagar will be joined by Michael Anthony and Joe Satriani and Jason Bonham for a huge sold-out show on Saturday night. Text in to win free tickets now at 314-399-9646, 314-399. Yo-ho! All you need to do is answer Matthew's question correctly. What do you got there, sir?
You learned earlier today, if you were paying attention to the fight, that Yogi Berra, the St. Louis native, you can go check out the avenue. What is it? The avenue of the
on the hill.
Yeah, I always forget what the name is.
Or something.
The avenue of the whatever it is. Avenue of the Hall of Famers, I think it might be. You can go check that out with Yogi Berra. He is second on an all-time career list in World Series stats. Which stat is that?
Oh, I like this a lot.
It's a hitting stat, by the way. It's one of the regular hitting stats. He's second on the all-time career list in World Series what?
Text in now, 314-399-9646. And if you don't win today, you can also score tickets by going to 101ESPN.com or your 101 mobile app. All right, Matthew, what do you got in terms of rock and roll?
As you guys know, I played Paul Feinbaum a couple days ago. Him and Prime have developed a little bit of a rivalry, and the latest shot across the bow is coming from Boulder.
Every time I turn around, somebody's sending me a quote that you talk about.
He's a fan.
How? well, the thing about a fan, you got to understand, a fan only blows when you're hot. Ooh. So we must be hot. I know what he's doing, and I'm proud of him, that he's smart enough to understand that this generation and this thought process and the way we communicate on sports is different, and he's a dying breed. So what does he have to do to stay and keep up with this change? Oh, I got to go find that big bad wolf and talk about it.
So that was Deion Sanders commenting to Paul Feinbaum. Paul Feinbaum already on First Take on 101 on ESPN today. He responded to that message from Deion saying he did say something that I agree with. He called me a quote unquote dying breed in the profession, which I'm proud of because I really do believe that the media should be treated with respect and not have selective persecution like he is using out there.
I like it.
If the entire college football season is just going to be a battle between Deion and Feinbaum, I'm here for it.
I am too.
But is Deion in coaching really a big dog? I mean, if his Colorado team takes on Georgia, who's favored?
It's going to be
If he takes
Georgia.
on Ohio State, who's favored?
Yeah, he's
Utah,
not there yet.
Who's
Yeah.
favored? I don't think you're coming after
Murray State.
Yeah, the Racers. They were good one time. But
Deion is not answering questions from certain local media members as well. He's kind of got after it with them.
Yeah.
That's usually not good business.
Banned another reporter the other day.
Oh, did he really? Mm-hmm. That's not a good practice.
No.
You get the media after you, then you get the fans after you, and then you lose.
Paul Feinbaum, by the way, is still a pretty powerful voice in college football.
Oh,
100%.
And again, Deion's making the mistake that all people who are look at things from a national level and then get thrown into a local level. They continue to look at things from a national level. And the fact of the matter is, as a college football coach, your best friends are the local media. The national media will grab onto narratives. They will ignore the good things you've done in the first 4 weeks of the season. They will focus on the one bad game you have in the middle of the year and all that stuff. And so, but Deion has instead decided, I'm just going to roll with the national narrative of always, we're either terrible, we're the villains, we're the best, or the new hot thing on the block. He's decided to go with the national, which is always going to flip-flop from bad to good, bad to good, bad to good. You want some consistent actual coverage, then you're going to go to the local guys. Unfortunately, the issue with consistency is they also remember everything you said. And so then they hold that against you when you say things that are hypocritical. And that's why Deion now has a problem with the local guys. But again, the local guys are your friend if you're a college football coach, not the enemy.
And you don't even have to be friends with the media. I think that me personally, you don't have to be friends with the media. I think that it's more about you should be using media as a way to really talk to your fans. Yes. And if you're spending so much time worrying about what one person is writing about you nationally, and then you ban them, even though that person has no affiliation. I'm talking about how he wouldn't let that CBS reporter, that local CBS reporter, ask a question because of something that CBS said nationally. No affiliation whatsoever. I know that it's CBS and CBS, but still two different people that were at that press conference. You should use the media as a way to just talk to your fans and directly talk to them.
I used to, and for good reason. When I was younger, I would be intimidated by coaches and players. I've reached a point now, though, and I don't really play this card intentionally, but it's just a fact. I've been on the radio in St. Louis longer than any owner's been owning, any general manager's been general managing, any manager or coach has been managing or coaching. I've been around longer than them. If I choose to be around longer than them after they're gone, I will be. And so I really don't care what they think of me at this point. If somebody wants to bar me from talking to them, I got plenty of other things to talk about.
Deion makes you want to watch. He still makes me want to watch.
Yep.
By the way, are we going to talk about that in your Hall of Fame speech next week? What do you want me to ask you? So maybe fans can text in. I get to interview Randy for his St. Louis Sports Hall of Fame speech next week.
Yeah,
not a speech, it's an interview.
It's a conversation. Yeah, you can ask me anything.
I can go down the.
Isn't there a movie?
Can I say it's a on-site version of Ask Uncle Randy?
Yeah,
I can't do that.
We can do that.
I like that.
So I have a Hall of Fame story for you. You remember Skip Irwin, right?
Oh yeah.
Skip Irwin was a legendary broadcaster in the St. Louis area, and he could talk. So one time I'm doing the UMSL. I'm emceeing the UMSL Hall of Fame induction, and Skip is going in to the UMSL Hall of Fame. He talks for 35 minutes. People were supposed to talk for 5, and Skip talked for 35. And
that's not good.
He finishes up, and I get up, and I make a smart aleck comment, and the next person is up. And Skip gets up from the dais and walks over to me and says, Randy, can I go back up? I forgot to mention my wife. He thanked Jim Thomas. He thanked me. Jim Thomas wasn't there, but just for being such a good. All the people that he worked with. I said, Skip, no, but I'll take care of it. And I went back up after the next person did their 5 minutes, and I said, "Hey, Skip Irwin, Mrs. Irwin." Skip says, thank you for being such a great wife. He forgot to mention you in his speech, and he just wanted me to pass that along.
That's tough.
Yeah.
I've heard that a lot, though, where guys, gals do a speech, and they forget to mention their loved ones. Mm-hmm. And it's the number one thing they think about when they're preparing for his speech is I need to thank my family before anybody else.
So just get that one out there for me, Daniel.
I will.
Okay, thank you, and we'll then we can just go from there. Let's just make it story time. We'll have fun.
How has your family been instrumental in your career? There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
That's a great one.
Yeah,
that's what I'll ask. Yeah, that'll be right over right from the top.
More than willing to accept the fact that I wasn't around. They liked the fact that I wasn't around. That's what.
Dan, you can even slip in there like, are we the favorite people that you've ever worked with?
Yeah,
I don't know. I mean, I feel like that's a fair question.
It all comes back to us.
10?
Oh, Randy.
That hurts.
Top 10, let's go.
Thank you, Matthew. Great job by our producer, audio, video engineer, the one, the only Matthew Rocchio.
Pleasure.
Brooke, did you have fun today?
Yes.
Yeah, you're top 3. 1, 2, 3. You guys are okay. You're all top 1.
Oh.
Tied for first.
You're tied for first. Thank you, Daniel.
Randall.
Great job.
You too.
We've got a balloon party with T-Mac and Ajax coming up, followed by BK and Ferrario, and then the Fast Lane. Our thanks this morning to Kyle Gibson and to Mike Shildt. And you can always listen to those interviews on our Dobbs Tire and Auto Center podcast at 101ESPN.com and on the 101 ESPN app. For all of us, we thank you for tuning in, texting in, and being a part of the show. And until tomorrow morning at 7, have a great hump day, St. Louis.